Please make sure to subscribe and hit this bell icon and say all and save. And that's all you need so you don't miss my pretty face. Thank you.
Okay, namaste everybody. So we are back again, and today we're going to do a discussion on Vishaka Nakshatra. We're doing this recording for KRSchannel for Kapiel Raaj, and he's been so patient with us. It's taken us such a long time to do this video. I think getting all of us together has become a big challenge these days. But I think this is great that we have been discussing for the past hour or so, and it's good to catch up with the team here. So thanks everybody for being very patient with us. So we can commence today's lesson, and I would request EFG to start with a mantra, and then we can get started with our discussion on Vishaka Nakshatra today.
Thank you, Dr. Arjun Paiti. Okay. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Aim Saraswate Namaha. Om Bhakterye Chividmahi Varanchi Patni Chidimahi Tanovani Prachodaya.
Thank you, EFG. Okay, so Vishaka. I know there's so much that we'll be covering today on Vishaka. I've got a lot of notes done up. This is the first time I have done some notes as well. I wanted to discuss more in detail about Vishaka. But let's start with the root word of Vishaka. And I'll also give some of my interpretations, and maybe then the team can give their own interpretations of Vishaka. So the Sanskrit word V means to go in different directions, or to split V, and Shaka means a branch or a region. So the literal meaning or translation of Vishaka is the forked one, or the one with two branches. And in the ancient times, this nakshatra was also called as Radha. The other name of this nakshatra was Radha. The Radha means the delightful one. Okay, and when you look at the nature of this nakshatra, this nature or the category of this nakshatra is called as Mishra and Sadharana. Mishra means mixed, which is both sharp and soft, and Sadharana means normal. It's also called a Sadharana nakshatra. Now, when we look at this nakshatra, this is maybe the second abode of Agni. When we look at this star, it is the second abode of Agni, and the first abode of Agni was Kritika nakshatra, or is Kritika nakshatra. And the deity, the devata associated with Vishaka nakshatra is Indragni, as per many scriptures that we have come across. But in very recent times, when I was at an old Surya Narayan temple a few weeks ago, I discovered that there is also a reference to Indrani. Indrani is the consort of Indra, and it's surprising to see. I think in a video previously, I think even Vic Dikaraji had made a mention about Indrani, and it was fascinating for us to even find this. For me, I was really baffled to see that there is a reference to Indrani, because no other text mentioned this, but this was in one of the pillars of the temple where they have specifically mentioned Indrani, and this the pillars had all the different nakshatras and their deities. We will be doing a video as well very shortly on that. The team would be doing that just to see. But let's say, what is Indragni? Let's stick with Indragni. That's more popular, we used as the deity. Now, Indragni is a dimorphous pair, and Indra and Agni, both of them struggle between passion and possession. It's also Indra and Agni, it's sexuality and spirituality. You can see that there is a big challenge. However, how to channelize this energy, which is, flowing through Vishaka. Another theme that I've also seen or another association that I've seen with Vishaka Nakshatra is this association with Karthikeya, the second son of Shiva and Parvati. Because if you see Pleiades, which is Kritika Nakshatra, that's also associated with the warrior, the commander-in-chief Karthikeya or Skanda or Muruga or however it is called. I can see that there's a very strong connection here as well. And basically, whenever I started studying about Vishaka Nakshatra, I always believed that it was all about the fork, the forked nature or the branched nature. But essentially, what Vishaka means, it is trying to unify things. It is about the tendency to bring things together or to bring the focus back. For an hour, the team was just discussing about, how much we must be focused these days, because we find so much of information and tons of knowledge being, given on social media and other forums, and they're great, but we have somehow to focus now. We have to bring the focus back. And that brings me to a mythological story of Mahabharata, which is a Itihasa, which is an epic. And in this epic, Dronacharya, the teacher, he was training all the young Pandavas and the young Kauravas. And so he wanted to test all of them. So he takes them to a field and he asks the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and he says, what is that you see here in the field? And then each of them, he would call them up and say, what do you see here? And so each of them would come and say, I see a tree, I see the leaves, I see the birds, I see the sun which is rising, and all these different. But then he finally calls up Arjuna and he says, Arjuna, what is that you can see here? Can you see something which is different? He says, yes, I can see the eye of a bird sitting on the tree. And Dronacharya was so astonished that he has not seen anything else. He's only seen his target. He's not seeing the leaves. He's not seeing the tree. He's not seeing the field. He's not seeing the sun. He's only looking at the target that he wanted to achieve. And then Dronacharya says, if you're seeing the eye of the bird, then shoot. And Arjuna shoots and he gets the bullseye. So basically what Vishaka is about your readiness or taking a stance and your preparedness to move towards the spiritual journey. I think that's the essence of Vishaka, if you really think. And that's why, in Ragini, the energy there is about not only dedication, it's also being passionate. It's also about your goals and the focus which you need to intensify to achieve your purpose of life. I think that's the whole thing about Vishaka is it's more of concretization of the abstraction. Today, knowledge is very abstract. There's no concretization. I think that is what we were discussing as a team. We were discussing, how to bring out. There are so many, people get worried with Gandanta, the name Gandanta, or exaltation, debilitation. That's what we were all discussing. There's so many things that people fear today. They say Kal Sarpadosh. How many of us have really tested it on a huge data set to see what is happening? Even with the Gandantas, they say, Abhukta Mula Gandanta, and people are scared. And I see this fear mongering there very much in India, and it's unfortunate that many women remain unmarried because they're not able to find a suitor for themselves, because they say, oh, she's got a Mula moon. How many of them, and how many of the Mula moon that I know that who have been happily married and be having children and being prosperous. I think, this is what we need to understand. And that's why Vishaka, when you're going to discuss about Vishaka, it's going to bring that split that is happening. You have to bring the focus back. And that is Indragni. Indragni is called the dimorphous pair, or it's the Devata Dwandas. It's trying to knit the two Devatas. Okay, it can be distinct, but it is more of complementing when they join forces. It is all about defeating the darkness with light, conquering the foes together with intellect and passion and dedication. And he shows the bravery, he shows his mighty exploits, and he becomes, it's all about conquest and competition. But for a spiritualist, if you go deeper and you understand a spiritualist, for a spiritualist, Vishaka is not about those conquests that Indra wants. It's not about those indulgence. It's not about that manipulation or deception or exploitation that you see, what Indra does. Because Indra, he wants to be, the supreme. And he can't tolerate that somebody else becomes or threatens his position or threatens his throne. And what you see with Agni, Agni is the leader of the Vasus, the Astavasus. He's the ruler of light on earth after the sun sets, and is the godhead of all the Brahmins. He's the keeper of the Vedas and the Vidya, which comes with the Vedas, which is the knowledge of the Vedas, the sacred knowledge, which brings you power and wisdom and the way it gives you the path how you want to live your life. It's also to advise to kings to align to the ethics and good governance and the mode of conduct that they need to follow. It's about bringing truth and justice, and I think this is what Agni stands for. It's to discriminate, also to be controlled. That's why it's called a Sadharana or a Mishra Nakshatra. So, and Indra, remember, he is one of the eldest Adityas, and Agni is called the chief of the Vasus. So you see, this is a very prominent nakshatra. It also gives you, prominence and eminence in the society. And it can bring you mental vigor and also intellectual compassion, I would say. That's the right word to use. Compassion, but it's also intellectually driven. And let's not forget that Indra was a slayer of the demon snake or the dragon snake, which is with Trasur. So that also shows you how this nakshatra can also help you to overcome some of the demons or the dragons that are, there. So he could be the protector of the homeland, and he is called the king of the warriors. And you can see a lot of sharpness in the senses, because that is what we say is Indra Virya. Indra Virya means sharp senses. This nakshatra can give you those sharp senses that you require. And I know we will go much more deeper into this whenever we go. But what I see within this nakshatra with the Indragni, and the Indrani nature, is I've seen both of them are great soma drinkers. They revel with drinking soma. So I've seen this nakshatra showing, a lot of association with, wanting to drink the potion of Amrit, or soma, have the right to drink the soma. So you can see a lot of Vishaka. Whenever Vishaka is active, I've seen that it shows bars, it shows nightclubs, it shows wine stores, or even people who are interested in brewing wines, distilling wines, and people who are who love alcohol. And also, it's not only alcohol; it's just about getting intoxicated. Even for a spiritualist, getting intoxicated with the name of God, that itself is intoxication for them. That's the shot that they get. That's the high that they get. And I think Aditya will be talking about the Yogatara, which falls at 21 degrees of Libra for this nakshatra. So, I think it is Alpha Libre, is it, Aditya? Is called Zuben El Genovi.
Yes, I will be there. I have a slide on that. Yeah, I'll be talking about it. Yeah.
Right. So all I wanted to share with this nakshatra is also about bringing perfection in everything you do. And look at the symbol. One of the symbols associated with this nakshatra is the triumphal archway. For many of them, this is a milestone that they want to achieve, and every time they go through a triumphal archway is as though they have achieved something. But Vishaka natives will always see another archway coming ahead of them. Once they believe that they have made it to the finishing mark, it's not the finishing mark. They'll see another finishing mark. It's never ending. And you go after these triumphal archways all the time. But for a spiritualist, it is about moving through his different chakras. Every chakra he goes and he conquers, it becomes that is a triumphal archway for a spiritualist. And each of these chakras are his triumphal archway. So he starts from his Muladhara chakra and he wants to elevate and he wants to move through these milestones. I think that is essentially what Vishaka is all about, is to reach to the point where you can become completely focused through your third eye. Unification, there's only one eye. And also bring union through your pineal gland or your pineal gland, because that's the seat of your guru. And no doubt, this in Vimshottari Dasha system, this nakshatra is associated with Jupiter. And I think Santip will also be talking about some of the concepts that we have talked about in some of our courses that we do. You should, whenever you look at the nakshatras, also look at the other nakshatras which are ruled by, or rather associated with the same planetary ruler in Vimshottari Dasha. You will find some great clues. That will be fascinating to look at that. So Agni, in this nakshatra, he brings brilliant intellect, and Indra brings strength and courage. So this is this unified energy that you see with Vishaka. And many people feel vilified whenever we talk about some nakshatra, but I don't think this nakshatra is a great nakshatra to have. I think EFG is going to dispel some of those fears that have been there. I think we have done a video, or we intended to do a video. I can't remember on Vishaka.
Yeah. We did Anuradha, but we didn't do Vishaka. But Dr. Paiti, I just, before you finished your part, I wanted to slightly, I would say even humbly, add a portion of the Shiva Puran, because I'm probably not telling the story exactly right. So please have forgiveness. But I do know that the birth story of Karthikeya, if you see Mruga or Karthikeya, if you see his names, one of his names is Vishaka. And that comes from, he was born, I believe, in response to Tarakasur, right? But this was, these older stories, they didn't have a lot of shame around sensuality. There was no shame around it. It wasn't this. So it was Lord Shiva and Parvati were enjoying their marital right, right? And Shiva was in an indulgent mood. That's what it said. He was in a very indulgent mood, and some of the drops of his joy fell on the ground, and there was this whole thing that happens, and Agni is heavily involved in carrying the seed to the water, because he can't hold it himself, so he carries it to a river, right? So there's this whole thing that happens for the birth of Karthikeya. But to be more specific about it, once he's born, once he's a boy, I believe it's Vishwamitra, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Vishwamitra that sees this radiant boy and instantly gives him the name Guya, which means the secret one. Right, the hidden one, the one that's in a cave, right? So, this brilliant boy who we know as Karthikeya, he goes and Indra, he goes to this mountain where there's these demons, so to speak, and he destroys all of them. And so Indra sees his might, and his pride is so threatened that he instantly attacks the boy. And out of Karthikeya's body come Shaka and Vishaka. Okay, so they're two fierce warriors, and they basically defeat Indra and all of his friends. So they defeat him and show him his place. And Karthikeya is insulted because he doesn't desire heaven. For him to be seen as desiring heaven or that kind of momentary enjoyment, he finds, of course, insulting. So I think it's interesting with Vishaka, what you were saying, because there's a split side to it. There's the intense indulgence of, you could say Indra's Indra-Agni, right? So what do Indra and Agni have in common? Appetite. They both have a huge appetite, right? So this nakshatra shows a huge consuming appetite for something. It could be, as you were mentioning, Dr. Paiji, as a spiritual path or devotion. It could also be for consumerism, for buying things, for eating things, for drinking things, for enjoying things, for conquering things, for dominating things, for winning things. This nakshatra just has a huge appetite. And it's a little insatiable, it's a little unsatisfiable. And I find it's interesting that Karthikeya is involved in this story because he's so disciplined. I mean, he's literally called the bliss of the yogis. He's referred to in all of these names that are the use of discernment, this precision, right? The detachment. And then you have this person like Indra or Indrani, who in her story, she's known for jealousy and some pretty intense feelings and ownership, So there is something with this nakshatra that has a split nature of this incredible ability to succeed in discernment, in precision, in skill, all of the qualities of Karthikeya to conquer. But there's also the Indra and the Agni, which is the almost unsatisfiable appetite. So it just depends on what that appetite is directed at, whether it's going to hurt or harm the person. But typically, out of balance, a big appetite, we had to watch that, right? So even indulging in something that we think is good eventually can become quite imbalanced. So, but this is also the birth star of the sun. I don't know if any of you want to talk about that as well. I just wanted to share that little story for any of you who might have.
Please go ahead, Evji. I think please go ahead with sharing things about. You said this is the birth star of the sun, so this is beautiful. So please go ahead with the stories.
I feel like it's a little scrambled. I deeply apologize because I know the story, but I know it's a little out of order perhaps. But this is the birth star of the sun, according to quite a few sources. So, and you will see some of the qualities of the sun in Vishaka naturally. So once again, we just throw terminology around, right? This is what I feel we're doing in Jyotish right now, because we're all kind of children. I don't care how experienced you are, you're a student. That's the level we're at. Unless you can say you're a rishi, with full confidence and the answer, it might be a wise idea to keep your head down with this subject, because this subject is vast. And the more I feel I've saturated myself in it, the more ignorant I feel. It hasn't given me any sense of authority at all. If anything, it's taken me into a place where I can sincerely say is such a beautiful mystery that I think we all need to kind of go back and forget a lot of the terminology even. All these dreadful terminologies, there's even nakshatras that are called dreadful, right? Or fierce. And then we get our minds attached to this word. So you have debilitated, you have gandanta, like you're saying, Dr. Paiji. I hear people say sare sati, and they think their whole life is going to crumble under the drishti of Lord Shani. There's this whole thing, this whole fear that goes on. I think Vishaka gets kind of a bad reputation, or a fearful one, I should say, because okay, you are pulling together two severe forces. In this nakshatra, you've got a lot of power. And it's a lot of power to consume and a lot of power to conquer. Those two things. And there's a will. You think of the sun, what is the sun's main attribute? There's willpower. It's the self. So it's like the personal will, you know, which gets executed actually through Mars, but Surya is the one that pushes it, the one that controls it in some way. So there is this dominating factor with this nakshatra, and you even see it in the stories of Indrani, who, you know, any of her competitors, you know, beware. So she's not really a team player. Neither is Indra, unless you're on his team, unless you have his idealism and his idea. He's not entirely a team player. So there is something about Vishaka that needs to set its own path in life. It's got to set its own path. It's not going to be necessarily the team player. It might be in charge of a team, you know, the person but they're going to need the control in some way. Sometimes I'm just saying that it's not a controlling personality. It's just that they need to exercise that personal willpower. And so yeah, there's just the consuming factor of Agni should never be overlooked, even with the birth star of Surya, because Surya, if you think of Surya, I mean, it's a sun. They constantly talk about how he's drinking the moisture of the earth. He's constantly consuming. Whereas like Soma, the moon, is constantly giving the nectar, right? Or in some way replenishing. The sun is actually taking. The sun is consuming. So a lot about this nakshatra has to do with this overpowering urge to consume or to compete or to do these things. And you'll see a lot of award-winning people with this nakshatra because of that. People that push themselves to the max. People who do things to the maximum degree. Have you guys also observed that? I mean, just you'll observe people who go to a great distance, specifically if something like Rahu is there, like the award-winning Daniel Day-Lewis. You know, I even believe Guru Dutt had his Brigu Bindu in this spot. Like a lot of people that will just go, and also these are people who also have consumed some Ras, as you say, right? So
I've observed this, Yuji, and also what I've seen is there is a connection with this nakshatra, as you mentioned, with something to do with, you know, accepting criticism sometimes, and also showing hyper optimism. Hyper optimistic, and sometimes they need to mature themselves. They're still not matured, I think. Vishaka natives need to actually ground themselves, because you look at both Indra and Agni. What they go through is, if you look at all the mythological stories, they have these carnal pleasures that they want to have it their way, and when they don't have it their way, then they go to repentance, or they go through curses and things, and then they go into a spiritual realm. Okay, Agni is said to, you know, always go to a forest. Once he has too much of himself, he wants to go to a forest. And in Indra, as you know, when he is cursed, he likes to go and hide somewhere. Especially, you know, when he was cursed by, was it Gautama Rishi?
Gautama Rishi, because of his
house. Ahilya. Yes, exactly. So he was cursed with Sahastra Yoni. You know, Sahastra Yoni means.
What does he say? He said, "Let the world know what you think about. Let the world know what's on your mind." Yonis. Yeah. So he's covered. Is it Lakshmi that frees him?
Exactly. So what does Lakshmi do? Is Lakshmi then gives him because he's so shy that he's got 100 yonis over his sahastra, 1,000 yonis over his body. So he wants to hide somewhere. So then Lakshmi, he goes and prays to Lakshmi, and Lakshmi actually gives him a place in a lotus in Manas Sarovar, you know, and then he hides inside that lotus, and he does penance for thousands of years, after which, you know, Lakshmi is so happy, so she changes the curse of 1,000 yonis into 100,000 eyes. So that's why he is then said to be, thousand-eyed one. And that's why you get this theme of being a spy.
Yes,
Yes.
and the eye is also an alternate yoni. I mean, you receive the light in things enter the eye and then reflect out. That's interesting, to say the least. Yeah, but that is the theme of being a spy with both Jeshta and Vishaka.
Vishaka.
Yes, with the Indra. Yes,
Spies.
absolutely.
So Dr. Pai, what is Manasarovar here? Is it a lake Manasarovar or what is that?
Lake Manasarovar. That's what in one of the legends I've seen. There could be many variations of the same legend. Different Puranas will give you different variations. So they said Manasarovar Lake, and I see some connection with Vishaka with water bodies. I don't know why, because even when you look at the birth of Karthikeya, it is believed that he had been carried by Ganga as well. After Agni, it was Mother Earth, and Mother Earth then handed it over to Ganga, and Ganga takes it to a forest, and the forest of weeds. The weed which grows very high, they're called as Sara in Sanskrit or in Tamil. That's why he was called as Sara Vana. Vana means forest. So he was born in the forest of weeds.
Mm.
So that's why it was called Saravana. So those weeds can also have a significance to the grass that we think about, Kusha grass or Durva grass. They grow very tall. I think it is Kusha grass which grows very tall, in fact. So he was born there. So that's why he was called as Saravana. He was also called as Shanmuga in Tamil. Why is called as Shanmuga? Because he has 6 heads. And then, these are the people who try to bring the focus on the path, and they bring about unification. And that is what Karthikeya stands for. Because if you see, he married Devyani, if I'm correct, if I recollect, and then Valli. Valli was a tribal lady. Okay, so he didn't want to show any favoritism to one class or one caste or anything. So he married both of them. Devyani was the daughter of, I think, Brahaspati, isn't it?
Devyani? Shukracharya, no?
Shukracharya, sorry, yeah, Shukracharya, you're right.
Is that correct? I'm so sorry, yeah.
I'm not sure whether it is Devyani, but I know he had two, maybe somebody can check on Google.
I'm sure someone will write it.
Yeah, right. I know Valli.
I'm someone sure.
Devyani is Shukracharya's.
Devyani is Shukracharya's, but I'm not so sure that that's a
Maybe it's a different name. I don't know, but I know.
I don't know what was that. I don't know.
Devasena, maybe. Is it Devasena? Okay. Anyway, that somebody will write and correct.
Devasena is some movie, correct?
Yeah, someone help us that knows. I'm sure there's someone out there that knows.
What I wanted to say is he married somebody from, from a very higher caste, and then from a lower caste, which is a tribe.
Yeah, actually, Devyani is the daughter of Indra. That's what is said.
Devyani, and he married Devyani, right? Daughter of Indra.
Yeah, Devasena or Devyani is called the daughter of Indra.
Okay.
Well, here's that Indra connection again. It's a marriage of heaven and earth. It's a marriage of heaven and earth.
Heaven and earth, because Valli is a tribal lady on earth.
Yes.
And Devasena or Devyani is a daughter of Indra, because he must have defeated Indra, and that's why Indra, as a gift, must have offered his daughter to him.
Beautiful.
Basically, Karthikeya is connecting, and that's what we see here, isn't it? Indra, Agni. Indra is the lord of the heavens, and Agni is on the earth, because he gives you light and brilliance and everything. So I think Vishaka is all about Vishaka, means bringing the heavens and the earth together.
Well, what you say is beautiful, Dr. Paiji, about all the Jupiter Nakshatras now, that I think all of them are a marriage between heaven and earth. Yes, all of the Jupiter Nakshatras have this theme of a marriage between heaven and earth in some way.
Yeah.
So that actually makes a lot of sense. And then it makes a lot of that, because Vishaka by far, when you even think of Radha and you read the poetry of Mirabai, like I've often talked about, or you think about who Radha was, there was a great intensity. We don't think of love we don't think of love in the proper way in our society. I'll tell you that. We most of the time we're thinking of something that obligates another person. Devotion, right? Devotion expresses time and all these things, but love itself is a force beyond. I don't think we fully understand what that is. So I think when you look at Radha, who typifies what that force is, then you can understand something of the marriage of heaven and earth. You can understand something of the intensity of pulling those two worlds together, which is you could say love is vulnerable, but when you think of that force that would do that, I don't know any of us who would stand a chance, in it. So I think Vishaka carries this great ability to bear the longing, bear the fire. That's the part of Radha who, in her longing, correct? Am I understanding that correctly? That Vishaka was her trial, and Anuradha is after the trial.
Yeah.
So
Anuradha means the love of, I think what follows, and it's about trying to put into action your love. That is what means. Anuradha is more of a pleasure rather than, through friendship and cordiality and through union and all of that. But here, I think it is about what you were mentioning. But rather,
it's the fire.
The fire.
The fire of separation. It's the fire of the longing. And you will see that in some Vishaka people, other Vishaka people who don't quite know how to surrender to that, because that's a scary force. It's an all-consuming force. So when someone doesn't know how quite to surrender to that, you'll find that it turns into indulgence. This is what they're trying to put the fire at ease. They just want to consume everything. Otherwise, they don't know what else to do with it. It's a very restless nakshatra that way. The person usually needs a purpose. They either need a divine purpose, like you were mentioning with Arjuna, how Arjuna had that single pointed focus and that mission, someplace to put that fire. Or you'll see people that really love refinement as well, like things of high quality. They just want to have those, like things of heaven. So, like that. And they can't get enough. Or you'll see people like the Scorpio side, you'll see a different intensity. You might see a defender of national security. Someone that's where that mission comes in, those kinds of people that hold secrets and will take a secret to the death.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it can be like that divine warrior personality, but either way, it's going to go all the way. That's the thing with Vishaka. It's not a little. It's not going to take a little, or it's not going to give a little. It's going to give an abundant amount of something.
Absolutely, Evji. And I feel it is also testing the thresholds of spiritual initiation.
Yeah. If the person is fortunate enough to see that.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that is what it also means. Even look at the symbology. The other symbology is the potter's wheel. What does potter's wheel symbolize? It symbolizes the patience that must be developed in order to progress on your spiritual path. Because if you go towards, if you move away from the center of the potter's wheel, that's when you feel the spin is most. So the idea is to be at the center, because there is no motion. When you are at the center of the potter's wheel, there is no motion. And it's as though as you go further away, it's difficult for God even to shape up. Think about the clay which is shaped up on the potter's wheel. So it is as though God is trying to shape it up for you. But the further you go away, I think, it doesn't shape up very well. Look at the hands of the potter when he starts shaping up the clay on the potter's wheel. It's so fascinating to see how he shapes it up.
So it is about that staying centered. With that one goal.
Exactly. And if you remember, Evji, I think a few months ago or maybe a year ago, Aditya did a video, on I think KRSchannel, where he talked about the concept of, if you start with Kritika Nakshatra as the first nakshatra, 13 nakshatras from that would take you to Swati Nakshatra, and then Vishaka becomes the middle nakshatra.
The middle.
You have Anuradha going up to Bharani. So you have the Devayana nakshatras. The Devayana nakshatras are from Kritika going up to Swati. And then you have the Pitrayana nakshatras, is the path of the Pitris, or the ancestors, from Anuradha going to and Vishaka is that one which splits this group. That's why it's called Vishaka. It splits the group of Devayana and Pitrayana nakshatras.
That's brilliant, Aditya ji. That's brilliant. I didn't see that video, unfortunately. That's really brilliant.
And you could explain even the Vimshottari Dasha sequences and all, like what comes, how the pattern of that. So we did, I think it was few months back, we did a video.
Yes.
I'll go back and watch that. I would recommend students to watch. That's very interesting. Once again, we need to start from scratch and start researching the stuff and throw out all the old terminology, because it's really holding you back at some point. You're repeating what you've heard. You know, you just watch these videos and you start repeating what you've heard, and debilitation is such a harsh word. Right? Those kinds of things are such harsh words. I mean, Gandanta, and like you said, Mool Nakshatra, anyone that reads Brihat or Shastra is going to panic if they take it serious. If you're a woman and you have Jeshta or Mula, you're going to feel that you have to do all these almost humiliating things because you were born in this time. I mean, you're part of nature. It goes along with the vilification of Alakshmi.
Yes.
You know, but with Lakshmi, they say that her sister is always there, right? There's a saying about that.
Yeah.
That with Lakshmi, there's always a Lakshmi, and that's why she has the owl. The owl is the Lakshmi, right? Is that correct? Yeah. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, this is correct. Absolutely correct.
So with Venus, there's always Saturn. With there's got to be day and night. There's got to be joy and sorrow. There's got to be a refinement. So maybe with what we're talking about with Vishaka, there is this deep refinement happening in the person, and because it is a clash of opposites, and I mean, to bring it back to Vishaka, it actually makes a lot of sense that this nakshatra would have those appetites, and even sometimes you'll see it has a little bit of an anger or frustration, a dissatisfaction. You know, I think some of that also comes from just the clash of elements going on within, and the attempt to bring them all to one point. I think everything in life goes back to that, so it makes so much sense that Vishaka would be that midpoint. Everything goes back to that refinement process of opposites and the bringing together of heaven and earth, and that kind of concept is really, I mean, what sets humans apart from animals?
Buddhi.
Right. And that's where the churning of the ocean happens. The Mercury nakshatra, Ashlesha, you know, that's the churning of the ocean is in Mercury. It happens through Mercury, the only graha that is earth element.
Absolutely.
The human graha, right? He's most compassionate towards humans. So that's fascinating. So I want to give someone else.
No, I think we should have Aditya and Santik talk about this, but I want to give a final thought on the same concept what Aditya has mentioned about Vishaka, you know, splitting these two nakshatras. And for me, my interpretation of Vishaka with all these what we have been discussing is also about the right hemisphere of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain, which is Indra and Agni. And they say this nakshatra is also associated with Sage Narada. Sage Narada, who sits in the middle, the pineal gland, you know, he travels all the three lokas. He can be there in any loka, anytime.
Mischief maker.
Mischief maker. You know, and you can see that is very much with this nakshatra. Mischief making can happen here, but with the intention of, you know, with the intention of progress of the universe. I think that is what his real intention is, for goodness, but he always brings in mischief. And that is what happens when your right hemisphere of the brain, left hemisphere of the brain, Indra and Agni. One wants to conquest, the other wants to bring perfection, you know, and intellect and conscious effort to make it look, that everything, whatever he does, brings in that. So this is basically, I think, it's this thing I'm saying. Even maybe when you talking about Vishaka, I think Vishaka people need to actually do Aloma Viloma. You know what is Aloma Viloma? Breathe from the left and breathe from the right. Because,
It's
the sun and the
sensual.
moon.
It seems almost like a very sensual nakshatra in that way, like awareness through sensuality, or through awareness through, and sensuality doesn't always mean romance or touch through another person. And sensuality can be enjoying food, enjoying liquor, enjoying good clothing, and
Good clothing,
it's
exactly.
sensual through the senses, enjoying through the senses. So even what you're saying with the pranayam,
Yeah.
it could bring someone more into balance with not needing so much outward stimulus,
Yes.
to try to bring that to, because Agni always wants awareness. He's the light awareness. He wants to see. Agni, he wants to spy on the wives of the rishis, right?
Yes.
He's always about seeing. And Indra is always about tasting. Indra is always about wanting to actually.
Indriyas,
Yes,
satisfying.
Indriyas. Yes. So what you're saying about centering a person with Vishaka could be very important, even for their own health.
Yes. Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. When you balance your Ida and Pingala, that's when, and I think that's what I wanted to say. Maybe the last thing, because otherwise we'll keep on going, and Aditya and Santip will never get a chance.
Santip will fall asleep on us.
Yeah, maybe he's just waiting.
Yeah, I'm already halfway there. Yeah, so we are talking about Vishaka halfway there.
So sorry.
See, I want to give another very important clue about Vishaka and Indra's nakshatras. Yes, this is one of the abodes of Indra besides Jyeshta nakshatra. But there is a clue there. What I want to give about Indra. Indra is anybody who can have complete control over his Indriyas becomes an Indra. Indra is a position, not an individual. It's like the president of the United States of America. Anybody can be an Indra at a different time period. There are different Indras at different time periods. So Indra is a position, right? And there were only two people who have actually challenged the throne of Indra without intention of really taking that throne. Okay, and I did discuss this, and I there are two people. Do you know any? Do you have any guesses who are these two people who actually challenge the throne of Indra? And maybe you'll get greater clues about Vishaka through this. And why I was saying, practicing pranayama and aloma viloma will also help you, and devotion will help you. Okay, let me tell you that. One of them was, the little boy Dhruva. Dhruva, he went and did penance. And what is Indra's? Indra's way is he wants to give you a carrot that you will accept it, gracefully, so that then nobody is going to challenge his throne. If I give you something, if I give you a pastry and you have that pastry, then I'm happy that, okay, you're falling for my carrot that I'm dangling in front of you. Suppose my karmas are I have to have the pastry, but I say, no, I don't want to have that pastry. I'm content with whatever I am, right? That's when Indra gets jittery. Then he will try different ways of trying to woo you. He'll try to give you, wealth, gold, precious stones, and then he might send his celestial nymphs. He'll send the Gandharas. He'll send everything. He just wants you to accept whatever he's trying to offer to you as on the basis of your karmas. If you fail or if you avoid, then he becomes jittery. So Dhruva did the same thing. He just started saying, I don't want anything. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That was what was given to him, the mantra by sage Narada. And he kept on chanting with so much of devotion. Anybody who came to him, he was not even deterred. He said, this is my single, pointed focus I wanted in my life. And that is only Vishnu. I want only Vishnu. Because Narada said, it's only through Vishnu you will get the right to sit on the lap of your father, because his father didn't allow, his stepmother didn't allow him to sit on the lap of his father. So he went to the forest, and Narada said, only Vishnu will give you that right. And that was his focus. So Dhruva was one, because later on he started only eating, he gave up food. First he was living off leaves, and then gave up food. Then he started even stopped breathing. And that is when the balance of the world went, and then Vishnu had to come. And he was one of them who challenged the throne of Indra, because he could have taken over the throne of Indra, because he had relinquished everything.
Wow.
And the second person who challenged the throne of Indra was the father of Lord Sri Ram, which is Dasharatha. The word Dasharatha means 10 chariots. And what are those 10 chariots? They are your Pancha Karmendriyas, okay, and the Pancha Jnanendriyas, which means 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas. And if you become a master of these 10 Indras, then you become an Indra. That is why he was called as Dasharatha, one who has conquered the 10 Indriyas, which is 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas.
Wow, Dr. Paiti.
So anybody who wants to understand Vishaka. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we spoke at the same time, froze. It's okay. I was expressing that I'd not heard that. Thank you.
Okay. So anyway, that's me. I think that's what I wanted to share. And I wanted to say that, remember, in this nakshatra, it's about, Agni plays the balancing agent. He's the catalyst. Without Agni, there is no wisdom and intellect. It's purely, power, superiority, and dominance of Indra.
There's no sight.
Yeah.
You can't see without Agni.
Yeah, without Agni, because that is what is required. Authority for expansion, but also he has a personal agenda. I think we need both of them. And that is why this nakshatra is very supreme. I think I would have other people also. I mean, Evji, if you want to share something, you wanted to add.
Dr. Paiti, I just wanted to add to what you said, and it was brilliant. Thank you. Thank you.
So Aditya, do you want to go next? I know Santi would like always to go at the end. He's the Yama.
He's the Yama.
He's the Bharani nakshatra.
Yeah, someone has to end it, so yeah.
The closer.
Yeah. No, I was just curious to see. 2 hours back, I thought when I will start speaking, and here it's Vishaka Nakshatra is rising right now. So I made a horoscope chart at this time, right at this time. Somehow I picked 9:30 p.m. of this time, and it Libra 29 degree 41 minutes is rising.
Right.
So exactly Vishaka is rising now.
Right.
So that means Dr. Pai has to stop, correct?
Yeah, some break in the branch has to happen, right?
Yeah, break in the branch. Otherwise, you would have broken me.
I was thinking when somehow I made the chart of this time. I said, let's see. And then it so happened that, anyway. So I will share my screen here. Can you see the screen here?
Yes, it's coming through, yeah.
Fine. Vishaka, feeling already hungry now. I think Indra Agni has risen in my stomach probably. It's dinner time here. So I think more of Indra Agni will come. So the star of purpose. So we know by this name, Vishaka, the star of purpose, definitely these natives will be like some purpose to be filled. So I've seen that. And Dr. Pai has already mentioned the word. I think a lot of points were already discussed by Evji and Dr. Pai. So V is called distinct and Shakha is the branch. So there are like, again, Dr. Pai said about the fourth branch as when we started today's talk. So Vishaka can also be distinct branch. And he spoke about, like if you take from Karthikeya Nakshatra, which is the first nakshatra from in the Vimshottari Dasha, because Vimshottari Dasha starts with sun. If we take from there, Kritika to Swati will be the 13 nakshatras or the Devyana nakshatras. Vishaka will be the one nakshatra halfway. And then after Vishaka comes Anuradha to Bharni, That is another 13 nakshatras which Pitrayana. So I thought I'll just expand more on this and why it is called Vishaka. Why Vishaka? So there are like, of course, Vishaka is a nakshatra which classifies into the nakshatra types into two types basically. One is the Devyana, one is the Pitrayana. From Kritika to Swati and Anuradha to Bharni. And Devyana is also solar based nakshatra, correct, Dr. Pai?
Yeah, because it's led by Kritika Nakshatra, isn't it? So it's more solar, and maybe Anuradha Bharani might be more lunar.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that one of his wives' name is actually Devyani or something, you know.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah. Karthikeya's wife's name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, Karthikeya.
And then Shaka and Vishaka are two of his names.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
Shaka
yeah.
and Vishaka. Maybe Shaka could be one side of this, and
It was
Vishaka
the
could be
right side of his body. Shaka was said to be the right side, and Vishaka was said to be the left side. And then out of his forehead, sometimes they say another. I think it was something Dev Sena or a general that it came out of his forehead.
right.
There's three. It might be, so it's interesting here. Yeah.
The fourth branch again, you have plays an important point. You see the half, you said about Shaka, Vishaka. Actually, it also said that you need to also, for problems in planets in Vishaka or something, you need to pray to Harihara, the embodiment of half Vishnu and half Shiva. So you see always this dimorphism. Now, as Dr. Payal said, Indra plus Agni, Shaka plus Vishaka of Kritika, Harihara. So all this, there are so many duality themes you can see in Vishaka somehow. So that's something very, I think, as you were talking, I was getting that. Like there is something like halfway is very important, I guess. And also there's a symbol of archway, correct? And there are something when we were talking about archway and all, I did some, just 1 hour I was keeping quiet. I was doing some research on some important archways, and then they are, what has they got something to Vishaka Nakshatra, and I will talk about it in the subsequent slides. So anyway, so then I thought maybe Eve Ji was saying about this, maybe I should talk a little bit about this nakshatras. Why? So you can understand so many themes with Vishaka Nakshatra. Let's see some of the themes. And this I did mention this in talk I and Sandeep did this video a long time back. So if you take Vishaka, what are the two nakshatras side by side of Vishaka? One is Swati and one is Anuradha, correct? So you can pair Swati and Anuradha. Then what are the next two pairs? Like before Swati comes what? Chitra. And after Anuradha comes what? Jyeshtha. So just take these two pairs. So like that you make pairs, Again Vishaka making pairs. So Swati will go with Anuradha, Chitra will go with Jyeshtha, Hasta will go with Moola, so on and so forth. Finally, Kritika will go with Bharani. And now you see that Kritika Nakshatras goes with Bharani. Kritika is a nakshatra of Sun Nakshatra, correct? So Sun Nakshatra goes with Venus. So Sun Nakshatra with Venus. There is one more Sun Nakshatra. Purva Falguni goes with Uttarashada, again Venus. And what is the other Sun Nakshatra? Uttarashada, correct? Correct. Where does Uttarashada?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uttarashada is going with Purva Falguni.
Purva Falguni. So you see this Purva Falguni, Uttarashada, Kritika, Bharani. So you see Sun Venus Nakshatra, there will be a combination. Similarly, Moon Ketu Nakshatras will be pair. Moon is what? Rohini goes with Ashwini. What is the next nakshatra of Moon? Hasta goes with Moola. Correct. And what is the finally Shravana will go with Magha. That is the next. So Moon Nakshatra pairs with Ketu. Similarly, Mars Nakshatra pairs with Mercury, and Rahu Nakshatra pairs with Saturn, and only Jupiter Nakshatra pairs with Jupiter. So Vishaka is a Jupiter, so that's left out. And what are the other two Jupiter Nakshatras? Punarvasu and Purva Bhadrapada. This pair is very interesting. Now it tells you many things. First of all, I will come to this pair later. But see, I paired Kritika with Bharani. Who is the Lord of Kritika?
Sun. You mean
Agni, right?
the god or the planet?
Yeah,
Okay.
deity is Agni.
Agni. Yeah.
Agni. Bharani, who is the Lord of Bharani? Yama.
Right.
What does Agni does? It takes in everything. You give whatever oblations, it takes away, correct? You give fruits, you give so many yajna. We do yajna, we put so many things, it takes away. It takes with him, he consumes. What is Bharni? Yama takes away the life, basically. So you can see that pair opposite themes coming there, Kritika and Bharni. Similarly, what is the symbol of Rohini?
Rohini is oxen cart, right? Ox cart, yeah.
Cart, correct. Ashwini has got symbol horse cart.
Right.
So Rohini
Right.
and Ashwini, if you pair, you get horse cart.
Right.
So similarly, there are something which yet to do research, but I have done some research on some things, and maybe not go to all this. Ashlesha is Dhanishta. You know, Ashlesha is what? Nagas. What is Dhanishta?
Right.
Sound. You know, the sound, the tune. You know, the
Right.
pungi, what we say, the pungi, I don't know what word we have in English.
Yeah, the Chamas thing, right?
The charmers thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two nakshatras definitely have a connection. They're because
Correct.
the opposites. Yeah,
Correct.
a lot of the opposites will connect.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Adra and Uttar Bhadrapada, they are not opposite, but still Rudra Nakshatra. So there is some connections between these two. You know, not for example, Purva Falguni and Uttarashada. Purva Falguni is, we know, it's all a very sexual nakshatra and all those sex themes are very important. Uttarashada is what? There is no animal, like it has got animal symbol of a mongoose, correct? And there is no counterpart
Right.
for it.
So
So again,
it's like
sexual,
almost the perfect opposite of one energy, right?
yes,
When you're
yes.
doing that.
Somehow Vishaka is like, no, match the following. Like this opposite nakshatras of Vishaka, they go like match the following if you want to do.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's something which I saw when you do this Vishaka and then you connect the opposite nakshatras. Now, interestingly, I was talking about this pair, correct? Here. Let's see, that's also got something very important. Okay. So if you arrange Sun goes with Venus, Moon goes with Ketu, Mars and Mercury nakshatra pairs, Rahu and Saturn nakshatra pairs. Okay. And Jupiter pairs with Jupiter. So I will take Sun, Venus, Moon, Ketu. What I will do is I will change this Mercury to Mars. Like Mars, Mercury is pairing, correct? But I will make Mercury here, Mars here. So Mercury here, Mars here, Saturn here, and Rahu here. And Jupiter I will keep in between. Now you see the pattern. Sun. What happens to Sun? After Sun Dasha, what you get? Moon Dasha. Correct? Sun,
Right.
Moon, Mars, Rahu,
Right.
Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Ketu, Venus. So you form that 8-type pattern. Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Ketu, Venus. So something like 8-like pattern. And what happens exactly between nakshatras between Mercury and Ketu? What is there between Mercury and Ketu nakshatras? There is Gandanta, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Like, so this is where that 8, the Gandanta, the intersection of 8 point happens between that Mercury Ketu. Of course, you can say, why not Moon, Mars? Definitely Mercury Ketu, you have a Gandanta nakshatra. And interestingly, if you add these side, what is the dasha period of Sun?
6 years.
6 years. What about Moon?
10.
What about Mercury?
17.
And what about Saturn?
19.
Add them. 6 plus 10, 16. 16 plus 17 is 33. 33 plus 19 is 52. Similarly, you add here. Venus is 20. Ketu is 7. 20 plus 7, 27. Mars is 7.
34.
34. 34 plus and Rahu is 18. 34 plus 18, 52. So here 52 years. Here 52 years. And here it's what? 16 years. Jupiter is 16. Correct? So 52, 52 and 16 makes 120 years of Vimshottari Dasha. So just using the concept of Vishaka and then I paired. So how I started, I used Vishaka. I paired each nakshatras, got that relationship between the planets, arranged something to get the balance of Dasha, got the Vimshottari Dasha sequence. So there are so many things which came out just by understanding this concept of Vishakha, opposite branches. So that's what I thought maybe Vishaka. See, that's what Vishaka is, a Jupiter-based nakshatra. It gave us so much knowledge. I was just thinking.
Brilliant, Aditya.
Yes.
Great.
So that's something interesting. It just came out. I was just playing with numbers and thought, okay, let's see this. And somehow I don't know whether it makes anything maybe sense that I just, at least numbers, numerology, some numbers match up, but we have to test it and try to see. There are so many correlations happen, but anyway. So this video was done a long time, but I just thought we are talking about Vishaka. Why not? I forgotten.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and you see Jupiter, the Guru, is sitting exactly between this. And you see Sun, Venus are enemies, Moon, Ketu are enemies, Mars, Mercury are enemies. I don't know, Saturn and Rahu, how are they? Are they
They
friends?
reinforce each other.
Yeah, probably like probably when you're closer to Guru, the enemy is reducing or something.
No, Rahu is materialistic, but Saturn is like, no, Rahu always wants shortcut, Saturn is delay. So you can say again opposite.
In some way, yeah. Rahu's insatiable, and Shani pulls the noose.
So maybe I'm thinking again that connection can be
A little opposite, yeah.
Anyway, we'll go to astronomy now. Yes, so this is our nice ecliptic, and Dr. Pai mentioned about this is the Alpha Librae star. And in some cases, there is also Iota Librae, like this star is also considered as Vishaka, which I was surprising. Like people do mention about Alpha Librae, but in some texts, I think there was one book by NCIR, which I think Sandeep did show me, where he mentions about Iota Librae as also one of the star for Vishaka Nakshatra. Okay, so, which is not bright as Alpha Librae, but still some people I think they consider that too.
So is alpha stars always brighter compared to beta stars?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah. Generally, I should say.
So in this picture, beta looks bigger than alpha.
No, because alpha they have put something, but if you see, they both will be the magnitudes will be the similar, I guess, because this is what magnitude. Yeah, this is the magnitude. Your eyes can see magnitude of +6 or something, like, because this is the higher the magnitude, fainter the star. That's the terminology they have. Okay. So 6 magnitude star is the faintest, and then this is like what, 1 first magnitude star. So this I think this may be like 2 magnitude maybe. Okay, so it's right, but the ecliptic passes very close to the Alpha Librae star, and it is called Zubayn al-Janubi. I don't know how we say this, and this beta is Zubayn S. Chamali. I don't know, but this name itself seems to be like Arabic names, Zubayn, Zubayn and all. So Arab names basically. But remember that the ecliptic passes very close to the Alpha Librae star. And sometimes it's also called Southern Claw and Northern Claw, because see, immediately after Vishaka, you have this Scorpio coming. So Scorpio is very interesting. Like they're just near the claws of that star. This is like, you can see the Scorpio. So this is like the Scorpio is very near to this. Like it's like they say that the end of the claws of the Scorpio is like forming the Vishaka Nakshatra. So if you see the book of Vivian Robson, Fixed Stars, where he mentions these 2 stars as the Southern Claw and the Northern Claw. Because, this star is the south of the north. Like this star is to the north. This direction is north. So beta is the north, alpha is the southern. So it looks like that.
Yeah, it's also interesting that the claw itself is V-shaped, right, for Scorpio. So also very interesting.
Yes.
And Aditya, in the ancient Hindu astronomy, they used to call this star as Tulasya. There were 2 stars.
Correct.
Yeah, because that is why you get this name, Tula Rashi. Tula means Tulasya.
Correct.
It was called as this Alpha Librae was called as Saumya Kilaka 1, and your Beta Librae was called as Saumya Kilaka 2. Saumya means soft. Kilaka means lock. This was like a lock in the sky. The ancients thought this is a lock, and they said, if you can open this lock, it will open up a treasure.
Correct.
And maybe what they were referring to is the third eye, opening that so that you can open the channel, the bridge.
Correct.
As Vishaka, it's a bridge between the right hemisphere of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain. That's when you can actually reach the peak. So they saw this as a bridge, and that's why they call it Saumya Kilaka. That's the name.
It looks like the axis, even the scale which you have, that justice scale lady, it's like that axis here. So it's like again, two branches. Again, there also you can see the two branches and all. So somewhere the theme of this will be something to balance, something to balance maybe the material and the spiritual world, something like that.
You will see a lot of social defendants as well.
Yeah.
Being Vishaka, lawyers, people who
Yes.
fight
Lawyers.
for social rights. I believe even Gandhi ji, am I
Yeah.
wrong? Had Vishaka. And I'm just thinking of what Dr. Paiji was saying about the right and left hemispheres, because once again, it goes back to that theme of heaven and earth and
Yes, absolutely.
the abstract reality versus that which is supposedly logical in the material plane, that which is solidified and that which is elemental.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's something again, balancing of that. And remember, very close to Vishakha, it's Saturn is basically getting Libra 20 degrees Saturn exiles, where it's very start point of Vishakha. Again, law and all those.
Interesting.
Saturn is what? Law. Saturn is again. So you can say the Saturn maybe for Swati also, and Libra, Vishakha also, the junction. But yeah, so the start of what happened.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. It's just my cats. So sorry.
If you can go back to the previous slide.
Yeah.
This is why it was called as an archway. You look at this, doesn't this shape looks like it in Sanskrit it was called as Taran.
Taran.
Yeah, Taran. So, there was no exact word for a Taran in English. That's why we call it the triumphal archway. But look at this. Doesn't it look like an archway?
Correct. Yeah.
But it was actual word is Taran. And usually what is Taran is, whenever you come into Indian homes, they have something hanging outside their door.
Correct.
That is Taran. Made of leaves, usually they use, I think, mango leaves, and they use some flowers like marigold flowers, and they create a beautiful thing outside their doors.
Correct.
And that's called as a Taran.
Correct.
Basically, Vishaka is that Taran.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Because we didn't find a similar thing when it was translated, people said it's a triumphal archway. And what do you have on the triumphal archway? You have creepers and flowers as well, decorated.
True.
Okay.
Especially in festivals during Dasara and all, we will put that Taran in, like Gudi Padwa, maybe even
Gudi Padwa or New Year's. We put all of that.
Yeah, also New Year's. Yeah, New Year's in flowers. The flowers of those kept on the in front of the doorway. Yeah.
So can you say for greeting, these people can be good greeting, maybe receptionist, phone receptionist.
Exactly. And also Vishaka is, I feel, the bigger picture. If you look at it, in the olden times during New Year's, they used to have this elaborate rangoli, secret geometry, which was done outside the houses. And usually the secret geometry, or whatever they call as rangoli in India, they were actually using grains, powdered grains of different colors, and to do it, because that was one way that the birds and the ants and all the insects used to come and feed on it. That was the idea. Today, everybody wants to do the rangoli inside their house or in their apartments and they're outside, but it has to be done outside so that the birds can come and feed on those grains. That was the purpose of a rangoli. Oh, there you are. Evji, you have your...
So sorry.
What is Vishaka animal symbol?
Vishaka tiger, right? Male tiger. We have a tiger in the room. Yeah.
It's the only male, and he's really insistent right now.
But the tiger came in for Vishaka.
The tiger.
Hey, please.
Yeah. So the people will greetings. That's why people who are like good greetings or see, even in my village, still morning it's very compulsory to make rangoli. Getting up and then that angan has to be clean, and then there were rangoli daily. Even my aunts and all, even today in the village, of course not in Mumbai, but in village still it is a daily practice. Anyway, so I was talking about Vishaka is of the front portion of the Scorpio, and we will do this. Anuradha is the first like the initial side of the Scorpio, and then Jyeshtha is the heart region, and the Mula is the tail region. But I think when we come to those nakshatras, we'll talk more about it. So here is Vishaka. As I mentioned, that two stars, Alpha Librae and Iota Librae. These are the Yogataras of that. And I calculated what is the position of that Yogatara. Alpha Librae exactly happens at 21 degree of Libra. And if you consider Iota Librae, in some cases people do, you have 27 degrees of Libra. Now tell me when the sun will be at 21 degree of Libra. What date the sun will transit?
Is it like May 1st or something?
May. Why May? Sun will not transit May.
November.
Okay, so
It
it's
would be
Diwali, right?
November.
Yeah, November, right? Yeah, November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
November what? Sandeep, you should be able to say this.
I think
Around November 3rd of
November
It
3rd or
would be
4th. Yeah.
before the 22nd. It would be before the lunar month of Mrigashira. So it would be, it'd be before the 22nd. I know that much.
It's
Yes.
3rd or
It's
4th.
in my head, but I don't know when. Sorry.
November 17th is when November 17th is when Vishaka
Probably November 7th, right? November 7th or 8th.
November 7th. November 7th is when
Mm-hmm.
Sun enters Alpha Librae, and November 13th.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is the 2 dates. These are the 2 dates when Vishakha Nakshatra, where the sun is very close to the Yogatara of Vishakha. So now, I was thinking, whose birthday is November 7th? Like what personalities we can get birthdays? And immediately, as I'm into physics, a name came in my mind. Which physicist do you think you remember? November 7th.
Einstein.
Indian. The Einstein was born in when?
Ramanuja.
It's not Ram. It's a C.V. Raman. Close to Raman.
C.V.
But C.V. Raman
Great.
was born on 7th November 1888 at Tiruchirappalli. And interestingly, his name was Chandrasekhara Venkatraman. Chandrasekhara means what? Shiva. And Venkata is again Vishnu.
Yeah.
So again, his name also, you see, Chandrasekhara means Shekhara, who has kept Chandra in his Shikhar, which is Shiva. So Harihara, again, that concept of Harihara comes in. And then his work, if you see Raman scattering. So what again, Adna Nakshatra comes into mind when I say scattering?
All about light and stuff, right?
Swati?
Swati, exactly. He has got Mercury in Swati and Sun in Vishakha.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he did all scattering and all those experiments, and this is one of the, it's of course one of the pattern where you can see the what is this name for the Feynman diagrams and all. Well, you can see the scattering, photon coming, hitting the molecules, and then get scattered off and all those. So his work. So immediately, this was not even made. I think when Dr. Pai and E.G. was talking, I was just thinking, okay, November 7th, whose birthday comes? Then I did something interesting. Okay, this is all I think half the slides I made are in the talk, I guess. That's what I do. So you can see that personality. Again, there's invisible influence of Saturn has got some special position already discussed. No? Saturn is very powerful at the start of Vishaka. And this moon is also very special because moon is, you can say, a sort of debilitation. I know no one likes the word debilitation, but again, that's a special position. Saturn exaltation.
Aditya, I think Dr. Paiji and I were only saying to question it.
Question, yeah.
Just not to take it as a concrete reality, just because you heard it, to test it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what would be a best way to describe the effect of moon's influence, moon being placed in Vishaka? So these natives might be hearing all this time that, okay, my moon is debilitated in Vishaka.
We'll see. Just keep that thing.
Okay,
ask good question. We'll see something. I'll just come to that point. I don't know.
Just to add what I have seen largely in today's Kali Yuga, if you have to be successful materialistically, then you have to have some debilitated planets. You see in many millionaires and billionaires chart, 1 or 2 planets are debilitated.
Oh, absolutely. I see it so much, Dr. Arjun Paiji. I almost tell people that planet's going to be their best planet.
Yes, exactly.
And I have confidence in it.
Yeah, because that is that area of your life that you have not worked in the previous life. That's why it's come as debilitated. And if you put in effort there, as per A.V. Sundaramji, all other planets will support this planet to pull it up from its point of deep debilitation.
Yeah.
But exalted planets, nobody is going to come near it to,
I see the exalted ones sometimes being the heaviest hammers in a person's life.
Absolutely, because
Yes.
they go and hammer any exalted planet, will go and hammer the Mula Trikona of that planet.
Yes, that's
Yes,
so
I've seen that.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Actually, I think I've seen, yes, exactly.
I've seen that.
You'll see that. Yes.
So it's a blessing in disguise to have debilitated planets.
I
Maybe that will make many people feel lighter after watching this video.
yes. To question everything, test it
Question everything.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
We should all, even as teachers, keep our heads down so that, you know, it's so true. It's like we don't really know until we've tested thoroughly, and that can take it just years upon years.
And maybe lifetimes as well.
Yes. So yes, So anyone hearing all these dreadful terminologies, take it with a grain of salt. Test it yourself.
And some Mishra Nakshatra also. I don't know. Vishaka is considered to be a Mishra type.
Mixed nakshatra. Yeah.
So why Vishaka? Like Sandeep ji asked. So it was said that, of course, we know the story of Moon. Moon had 27 wives. I was just telling even in the last conference at Austin. We find difficult to manage one wife, but Moon had 27 wives. Interesting guy. So he had shown especially more love to Rohini, and then people were jealous.
I didn't know, Aditya, that you have handled so many. You said it's difficult to handle one wife.
No, from other people's experience. From other people's experiences.
Gifted with handling Aditya for sure.
Aditya was handling many women anyway.
No. For me, it's difficult to handle myself. Forget about other people. Other people's experiences. I learn from other people's experience. The whole world is guru for me. Okay. Okay. So Moon had a more interest in Rohini. So other wives were unhappy, and we know the story. Jyeshta was unhappy with Moon, and what Vishaka did, she was also one of the wives of Moon. The other wives went under the head of Vishaka. They went and complained to Daksha, their father, and we know the story. Daksha gave curse to the Moon, and the Moon has to wane and wax accordingly. 15 days waning, 15 days waxing. So somehow it was under the Vishaka that she was the head, like maybe leader of all the other 26 wives, and then she went there and spoke to the father. So that's why it is said that the Moon gets little bit debilitated in the fourth pada of Vishaka. Okay, so that's the reason they say. So now if you say again the question, like if they have Vishaka Nakshatra, maybe people maybe like leadership can be there, fights, leadership, complaints, all these qualities can
Rebellion.
Yes, rebellion. It can be good also for sometimes, like they can fight for some good cause too. So I think if they do for some good cause of humanity and all, it's fine. And it's positive. But these things comes up.
Vishaka is not a silent nakshatra.
Yes.
It's vocal.
Yes. Yeah, of course. And I remember C.V. Raman's theory and all, like he had fightings and all those and complaints, and there are so many controversies.
Combat. Oh yeah. This is actually beautiful. I didn't realize, I've known this, but I didn't realize, I didn't remember this. Yeah, this is great.
And even some say that his theory of Raman effect, he stole it from someone else, from his students. Even now, maybe after so many years, maybe after 100 years, 1930 was something, the year he got a Nobel Prize for that. Even after 100 years, we are saying that. So anyway. Okay, so then also I saw what it was, since Alpha Librae, we saw that it is very close to the ecliptic, correct? So the Moon can occult it many times. So we say even for Rohini, the Moon occults, but Rohini is dear to the Moon. But even Alpha Librae is very close to the ecliptic, so it may be very close to the Moon. So it may occult, not as frequent as Rohini, but still it occults. So why it occurs? Because again, Vishaka and Moon doesn't go along well, because it was Vishaka who complained to Daksha. So you can say, so see, even to fight, we have to be close, no? You have to come closer and fight. Even
because it was the truth.
Yes.
It was the truth that was brought out.
Correct.
The truth can be brutal. So there is a harshness, whereas the Moon prefers gentleness and even romance. So that's a very unromantic, So
Absolutely.
this is a really good, I'm so glad you brought this forward. Thank you.
But see, it has to, because Saturn, if you want to make a justice, you cannot be lovingly and make a justice, correct?
Yes,
Have to be
there's a
little bit
harshness.
harshness.
Yeah, that's why maybe you were asking about the Mishra, the mixed
Yes.
quality of this nakshatra. So maybe there is a side to it that, and you see that in Vishaka natives, that they can speak the truth quite directly or harshly or
Absolutely.
intensely.
True.
Yes, yeah.
I just wanted to add one more thing, Yuji and Aditya. Whenever I study nakshatras, I also look at another way of looking at nakshatras. Now, when you talk about fourth pada of Vishaka is where moon can go into deep debilitation around 3 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Now, which Navamsha pada does that go into? It goes into Cancer, isn't it?
Cancer, yes.
Cancer Navamsha. Now, I always then look at if any planet gets into debilitation or exaltation in that Navamsha pada. So it will give you some flavor, some clue related to that. Because when you say fourth pada, also remember fourth pada is also called as a Pushkara Navamsha pada because it's a Jupiter, in Vimshottari Dasha is ruled by Jupiter. It's a Pushkara Navamsha pada, and Jupiter gets exalted in Cancer Navamsha.
Yeah.
But Mars gets debilitated there. That is why you see this aggression. That's a debilitated Mars. When you ask a warrior to babysit at home, what will happen? He'll feel irritated. He'll feel frustrated. That is what you're trying to do. You're saying a Mars to go and sit in Cancer, which is about motherly care and nurturing.
Compassion.
If you ask a soldier, compassion. If you ask a soldier, to go and babysit, what will happen? He will feel frustrated. For him, his battlefield, the 10th house, the natural 10th house of Capricorn, is where he exalts. When his karma is on the battlefield, when he fights for his country, for his countrymen.
See, again, the fighting concept is coming, Dr. Pai.
Yes. That is why this debilitated Mars might give it that, that thing of little bit of irritation and frustration, that's why they want to speak the truth.
Yes,
Because
no patience for the, you will, I've heard some Vishaka people say that they have a hard time with lies. Like
yes.
a hard time. Yes. So I can't, clients say this, like that's one thing they tend to zone in on, or they'll have a, even if it's not lies, it can be that they just don't, they want to confront things head on. Yeah,
they don't like, by their spouses.
They don't like diplomacy always. They don't appreciate diplomacy. They'll look down on it sometimes. And so that's a very fascinating point because Mars could care less for diplomacy. That's Jupiter and Venus's job. And so makes a lot of sense. Yes.
When you sacred speech cannot be lies.
Yes.
Sacred speech. Draupadi has a lot of sacred speech, so that's why they cannot tolerate lies or injustice.
But if you have Jupiter in Cancer, it behaves much differently than Mars because you get Jupiter as a large ability for patience, for tolerance. I would say more than patience, but broad intellect. Mars is a one-pointed focus. You think of a spear with Mars. So it's like a one-pointed focus, whereas Jupiter has this broad. He has to consider many details. He has to consider many things before he speaks. So this all makes a lot of sense. It's interesting if Vishaka is activated by Jupiter in the Vimshottari Dasha, as that might even be a big clue on how to approach this nakshatra. With understanding, compassion. Compassion is a big deal. If you're going to do any social service, or maybe sometimes Vishaka needs to develop compassion, maybe sometimes it has it. It just depends on the person. But yes, I have seen it be quite intense. Like it has to identify the enemy, you know, but you need to have compassion towards the enemy. So you see Gandhi ji, how he handled things. He clearly identified the enemy. It wasn't that he didn't identify it, but he proceeded in a way that was quite clever.
Right.
So
this is one way of I put different padas and try to see the Rashi Lord, Nakshatra Lord, and the Navamsha Lord. So if you take the first pada, second pada, third pada definitely comes in Libra sign. So that's why we have Venus here. Rashi Lord has Venus. Nakshatra Lord definitely Jupiter. So all the cases of Nakshatra Lord is Jupiter. The first pada is a Aries pada. So that's why it's Mars. The second pada is Taurus, so the Lord is Venus. The third pada is Gemini, Navamsha, so it's Mercury. I should have colored this into green, but I don't know why. But I think I missed it. And the fourth pada is Cancer, which Dr. Pai said, which is owned by Moon. So, and interestingly, the Jupiter, I think the first and the fourth pada is Pushkar Navamsha. Correct, Dr. Pai?
It should be second pada is Pushkara Navamsha, because second pada is both Ashtamamsha as well as Pushkara Navamsha.
Oh, so this should be second
Sun nakshatras is, yeah.
I think you're breaking.
yeah, Dr. Paiji, you're breaking out.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I said for Sun Sun associated nakshatras in Vimshottari, it is first pada and fourth pada. And for all Jupiter nakshatras, it is second pada and fourth pada, which is Pushkara Navamsha.
Oh, so I should put here.
So second pada is a unique pada because it is both Ashtamamsha as well as Pushkara Navamsha. That's the only pada in the entire zodiac which is both Ashtamamsha as well as Pushkara Navamsha.
Let me correct that. And in I think you can talk, Dr. Pai, and about it. So what significance you will say for a planet if they have any planet in the second pada?
Yeah, that is why it will be tricky, because what they need to know is if they want to be more successful in life, they have to go through the transformation. There is no way. Ashtamamsha means it can bring in transformations. Okay, but eventually it is also the blue lotus. Vishaka is connected to the blue lotus as well very strongly. So it will blossom. The blue lotus will blossom. And it's very strange, whenever I was looking at Bhavishya Puran, and Bhavishya Puran talks about one of the remedy for this nakshatra. He says worshipping Chakragni. It's called Chakragni. Chakra is Indra. Chakragni in Vishaka nakshatra with red flowers. The person will get wealth and becomes lustrous. That's what it said. Red flowers. Now I wonder why red flowers. I don't know. Is it because in the fourth pada, does it get debilitated? Mars? I don't know. Is there any thought around that? It says the red flower. Worshipping Chakragni with red flowers will get you wealth.
Yes, that seems to make sense. Also, Karthikeya is controlled with red color too. So
yeah, maybe yes.
Also, Dr. Paiji, in God, what Puran is this? I'm so sorry I can't recite which one it is, but for sure Vishaka in two different Purans is connected to receiving beautiful children or good, like a good child. And I always related that to Karthikeya as well. So there's definitely some Maruga influence here, especially because in a lot of the old Ayurveda books, they refer to Karthikeya as the one that causes balarishta or infant death or illness, or that kills children. Not to scare anyone. It's written that way. It's written in a very severe way. It doesn't mean it's true, but you'll notice that there's a lot of emphasis, and even the Kritikas, how they were, taking care of Karthikeya as a child, and there's all this emphasis on this. So I do wonder about that connection.
It's interesting. I think they say that even Lord Karthikeya was born in Vishaka Nakshatra.
He was, they make different mentions. I know in Taran, he might be born in Vishaka Nakshatra, but in the month of Mrigashira.
Lunar month.
Yes. Yeah. Something of that sort. I'd have to go back and look.
Well, yeah, I was also, have any of you seen any themes of IVF or foster parenting with Vishaka? Just like
Yes,
Kritika?
just like Kritika, I have. Especially if you get the combo and it has relationship with either the Karka children like Jupiter,
Yeah.
the fifth,
Yes,
11th
for
house
fifth,
axis point,
yes,
those things.
fifth house.
No, childbirth issues, not for everyone, I'm saying, but that cases can be there for Vishaka Nakshatra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have seen a few
Yes.
cases, not many.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, even my teacher used to say that for Vishaka, so I remember.
Mhm.
So, but if you see, what are the planets playing very important role? There are a lot, and of course, Karthikeya was he was very good looking, very charming boy too. So again, the concept of Venus and Libra sign, you can see that effect of there. So they just said that Karthikeya was very good looking, charming personality. So that I think the Venus is giving that quality. And other quality which I have seen is for Vishaka natives, like we see the planets which are really playing a role is Venus and Jupiter. Now, what is Venus and Jupiter? Both are very, Jupiter, of course, knowledge, wisdom, teacher. Venus is also teacher, art, knowledge, diplomacy. I know a girl basically who is a Kathak dancer. She is a Vishaka moon. So Venus quality definitely because art, knowledge, and Jupiter. Now she teaches some other students. So she's also teacher of Kathak. And she has represented India many times in many places internationally. So there is something like there's people are gifted with some artistic knowledge somehow.
Gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it true that the story goes that Karthikeya gave the Tamil language to Agastya Muni?
It's Karthikeya Shiva, I don't know, maybe.
It was Karthikeya, I'm pretty sure, but someone should check that. And then also he elevated Vishwamitra to the status of Devarishi. Right, so he gave him that status and gave him divine knowledge. So I'm just looking at your Venus Jupiter connection here. So there's a lot of that. There's actually even in a lot of the worship of Saraswati, there's actually a skanda stotram that you do in her worship. So there is a connection between the imparting of knowledge, like the alphabet, music, even martial arts.
Yes,
Martial arts was concealed in dance. A lot of scholars will say that Bharatanatyam was actually originally some of the martial arts of India that's kind of been lost was hidden in the dance.
Correct.
So this all it all makes sense.
Yeah, of course, music and all again I have seen. So these three, music, dance, these are the knowledge of now. These are the knowledge of Gandharvas, they call Gandharvas. So these people get trained in that and then give that knowledge to the worldly people. So it's like they are the intermediate between the higher realm or knowledge of higher personalities or whatever you can say, Gandharvas, or because those people are basically have the knowledge of music and dance and all. They learn and then they give it to other students. So they are like the intermediate or the teacher, you can say. They get the knowledge.
Heaven to earth.
Yes, from heaven to again the connection which you are saying. Yes. So it can be any knowledge, not only dance or music. It can be some Jyotish knowledge also. Okay. So artistic teachers, okay, and mostly I've seen that they are not like into a regular educational institution, like not like a professor type or like where you have 9 to 5 job and you have like a professor title. They have voluntarily giving basically, like okay, they have their own institution and then they will teach there, maybe sometimes freely, sometimes they may even do what you say as a social service, or they may even take private classes. So those I've seen those people a lot, not like registered to certain institutions or officially registered or something like that, not like that, but they like it and then people come to them to learn it and then they freely give it. Okay, So again, I was just thinking about the padas here. Second pada is Dr. We already discussed the Ashtamamsa. Fourth pada is moon debilitation. First pada is where very initially the Saturn exiles, and of course now this should not be Pushkara Navamsha. This should be a Pushkara Navamsha, the second pada. So of course the fourth pada and the second pada we already discussed. Second pada is interesting. It's also Ashtamamsa and Pushkara Navamsha. First pada can be very excited because Saturn exiles, and then the fourth pada is moon debilitation. So that's something very curious. Mishra type, of course, Mishra type nakshatra. Okay, so I think Yogatara we discussed this. I didn't put a picture of deity. I think we also discussed this.
Male tiger again.
Again,
Male tiger also.
It's the male cat. The only one, the big one.
You can name him Tiger now.
I know. He usually doesn't give his presents. This is Darshan.
I don't know. I think he also got influenced by Vishaka probably.
Sorry.
So that's fine. Deities, Indra, Agni, and then the opposite scales. We all know those. So I think Dr. Pai did discuss about this. So again, Indra and Agni. So again, the qualities of precision also can be coming in because of Agni. And I think Dr. Pai interesting mention about Indrani, correct? Indrani is again the chief of the Indra something. Indrani. So Indrani, I think Indrani is also considered to be the wife of Lord Indra, correct? If Indra is census, Indrani is the chief of the census.
Yeah, she is Sachi. Another name for her is Sachi.
Correct. I think Dr. Pai will. I think he has got these pictures of one Surya temple, correct? Surya, what in
Yes. Surya Narayan temple.
Surya Narayan temple. So we'll talk about that, and Indragni and Indrani. So again, deity which we discussed. Oh, here I have, I was looking the Dikaraji's explanation, that is called chief of the fire. Agni is fire, Indra is chief. So then he calls Indragni as chief of the fire. So fire to analyze the information, get the wisdom, make the decision to reach the goal. So again, you can see the dedication and devotion is one focus. And Indrani is Indra's Rani, or the queen of Indra. Indriya means also senses. And again, devotion, which I think Dr. Pai mentioned, Radha. And then the next nakshatra is Anuradha. So this is Radha and next is Anuradha. Typical classic stuff. So let us see. Now here I found something interesting. The symbol, as we said, is triumphal arch. Okay, and then this is, I think, one of the arch at Rome, I guess. And this is what? Anyone recognizes this?
Gateway of India.
Gateway of India, exactly.
Mumbai,
So
right,
I think, yeah, Gateway of India is definitely some archway. So I was thinking, I didn't do that. Again, today only when Dr. Pai and Eve Ji was talking, I said Gateway of India is definitely an archway. Does that has got anything to do with Vishaka? So what I did was I went to Google and saw when the foundation stone was put up. And Gateway of India, the foundation was put up on, I think, what is this? I said 231st March. That is wrong, man. 31st March, basically. It should not be 231st March. 31st March, 1911. And on that day, Jupiter is in Vishaka, actually. So you see, maybe I should definitely correct this. 231st is very horrible date. That nothing such exists in life. So on 31st March, 1911 is the date when foundation stone was put up of Gateway of India. Okay. And that day, I think Vishaka was literally, Jupiter was in Vishaka. Now, can anyone say what is this? Can you see my slide first of all?
No, I think
No, I think you stopped sharing here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I should
see you
share
guys' faces.
I also wonder if many Vishaka people will always show this symbol V.
Yeah,
Oh,
V for victory.
Victory.
That's their V for victory for sure. Definitely.
Most of the Vishaka
not
people.
the peace, but the victory.
Yeah.
Right.
So Dr. Pai said about archway, bridge. Do you know what is this?
AG, now that you mentioned, maybe that can also be the peace symbol too. Maybe it makes sense that these natives are fighting for peace or something like that.
See,
Oh, right, fighting for
I think Vishnu has this, correct?
You know what actually, when we were in Sedona, Vic Dikaraji mentioned this is a symbol of saying, God is greater than us, or something
Oh,
like
it's
that.
a Mudra then.
So
Yeah, it is also saying, God, this is God. And, this is the way I think Madhvacharya, he always
yeah,
used
yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And these two fingers are very important
Jupiter and
for
Saturn. No, this is
for
Jupiter.
archers, Jupiter and Saturn, but very important for the archers. Why? Because they have to pull the bow. They can only pull the bow only with these two fingers. These two fingers cannot pull. You lose the balance. Even if you chop off this finger, you cannot. You can never be an archer. So these two fingers are very important for archery.
So that's why focusing. You
Focus.
mentioned about Arjuna story and our
Yeah,
focusing.
you need both Jupiter as well as Saturn for achieving focus.
Correct.
Wow.
So Dr. Pai, you mentioned about bridge, archway, and all. So, do anyone knows what is this?
Because just to add, the Scottish also use this symbol as derogatory. It's like insulting. It's like the middle finger for the Scottish.
Oh, really? This I
Yeah.
thought that the
Tiger King.
insulting thing in the West.
You know why? Because what the British used to do, the English used to do, whenever they caught hold of the Scottish people who are the warriors, they used to chop off their fingers. So whenever they see the English in the movies, also you can see they always use these. This is a way of saying, up.
Oh, I still have my middle finger. Yeah. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, there you are. I've got my fingers intact. I've got both my fingers intact.
The ultimate rebellious.
That is also Indra, of showing. It's just like Jyeshtha, but two fingers now. It's like Indra and Agni, dimorphous pair.
Mm-hmm.
The two
Yeah,
fingers.
Jupiter can be understood because Jupiter is Nakshatra for Vishaka also. So she is.
Yes, yeah, beautiful.
Okay. So yeah, my question: what is this structure?
Is it like Denver or something, or Kentucky? I don't know, Louisville something?
Louisville, it's in US only.
Yeah.
Can you guess, UG?
I should be able to, but I don't know what it is.
They're
I
wrong
know
for
I've
something.
seen it. Is it in Missouri?
It's St. Louis.
It is in
Oh,
St.
St. Louis. Yeah, exactly. St.
I
Louis.
know,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the name. I don't
Yeah,
know.
St. Louis. Like I was going in a like I was going from San Antonio to Chicago in summer, so I saw this. The train literally goes. I said, Then suddenly it clicked me. That also beautiful archway, correct? At St. Louis, just outside. Like if you cross the station, if you're going from south to north, you get this. You get to see this very famous archway, St. Louis. Yes, St. Louis.
St. Louis.
And then I said, it's a beautiful archway. What has that got to do with Vishaka? Something, but I didn't get anything in Vishaka, at least in D1. But Moon is in Bharni and Venus in Kritika, exactly at those degree where opposite is Vishaka.
Right.
Venus was exactly at the end of like 3 degrees of Taurus, 3 degree Taurus, which is if you have maybe 3 degree of Taurus is 3 degree, or opposite is 3 degree of Scorpio. So you get Vishaka, and Moon is also in Bharni. So maybe I don't know, in divisional chart they may have, but again these two planets are aspecting this Vishaka. I was just looking at it and trying to see when it was, like it has got something to do. I think I don't know the date when I calculated this, but that's given in Google, so one of the date. But definitely archway, archway and Taran, which Dr. Pai was saying. So tiger.
Sorry. Yeah.
So Shakti again, Vyapana Shakti again, achieve and make manifest power to achieve foundation of voice, to cultivate, reaping the harvest, desire to gain the greatest splendor among the gods, fruit of the harvest. So it's like after all the hard work, it's like enjoy little bit of enjoyment probably I see here. Okay, we discussed this. So again, the festivals, finally Laddu time for me. Like what festivals comes in Vishaka? So one is, of course, we discussed about the sun transits Vishaka from 7th November to 20th November. And again, as we said, the moon is getting debilitated. So one of the luminaries is getting debilitated. Deepavali is, of course, a light, ignorance, removing the ignorance, giving the light, spreading the light of knowledge. And also there's Saturn exalted also in this very start. So again, Deepavali also we said same thing we said about Swati also, but I think festivals, Hindu festivals goes on and off. Sometimes it can come in Swati, sometimes it can come in Vishaka also. Again, establishing light. But there's something important other than that, which I saw this one, Govardhan Puja, Annakuta. What is Govardhan Puja? We saw that it is said that on this day, that Lord Krishna, basically, we know the story. Indra got very much, arrogant about his power. And Krishna was once said to the people of, I think, Gokul, why you pray to Lord Indra, you should pray to Govardhan, because that's Govardhan who gives our cows the milk. So Indra got angry and started making torrential rainfall, and Krishna lifted the Govardhan mountain. And so that day, Govardhan Puja, Annakuta. Again, it has got some connection with the Indra story. And I thought maybe Vishaka Nakshatra again, when the sun transits, we have Govardhan Puja. When the sun transits Vishaka, we have Govardhan Puja. Vishaka is again connected to Indra, and that's where the Indra's pride was destroyed. So that's the message, to destroy the pride, basically.
And Karthikeya, when he splits into Shaka and Vishaka, it also humiliates Indra.
Correct.
There's some theme of,
Correct. So I should control my senses. I should not crave for laddus. But there are a lot of sweets kept here. I can see this. The whole Mysore Park is kept here, man. Anyway. What is the other festival do you think? Now that's another quiz I should say. Vishakha. What comes in your mind?
Is Vishaka, Karthikeya Deepam something, right?
Karthikeya Deepam, but again,
Vaishakhi festival.
Vaishak, Vaishak month. Now we are running Vaishak month. Maybe we may be running our full moon. Next what is the festival in full moon of Vaishak?
Karthikeya Purnima? Who knows?
No. Kartik Purnima is in Kartik month. Okay. But there's one very important festival which comes in full moon of Vaishak month. That is in month of May.
It's and just what New Year.
It's the Buddha Purnima.
Buddha Purnima.
Okay. Because what happens on Buddha Purnima day, Buddha Purnima, it's Vaishak Purnima. The moon is crossing the Vishaka Nakshatra. When the moon is crossing the Vishaka, of course, when the moon is crossing the Vishaka Nakshatra, when the full moon is crossing the Vishaka Nakshatra, that month is called as Vaishak. So the moon is basically very transiting. So we saw the sun festival. When the sun crosses the Vishaka Nakshatra, we have all those Deepavali, Govardhan Puja. But when the moon crosses Vishaka Nakshatra, which happens every month, but in the month of May, it's a full moon. That's only special. Only moon crosses Vishaka every month, but full moon crosses only once in a year. That day we have Buddha Purnima.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Buddha Purnima.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And interestingly, like we talk about eclipses, correct? When eclipses happen, we also see eclipses. Sun is getting eclipsed by planets. Of course, sun is getting eclipsed by moon. That is our normal Rahu, Ketu, and all the stories we know. But sun also gets eclipsed by Mercury and Venus because they are inner planets. So sometimes they also eclipse. Okay. And of course, the Mercury is very small in area, so it doesn't eclipse the entire sun. It eclipses only you can see only a dot on the sun. Similarly, Venus cannot do. So that is called as transits. That's not called as eclipse, but as transit. Interestingly, Mercury transits will only happen in the month of November and May. November is when the sun crosses Vishaka. May is when the moon crosses the Vishaka.
So that's why that Buddha Purnima makes. So yeah, Buddha is Mercury also.
Yes, Buddha is the god related to planet Mercury.
Right.
So again, the connection of Mercury I could see there.
Interesting.
Okay. So that's how I was thinking, okay, Buddha Purnima and Mercury transit. Because transits of Mercury will only happen in November and May. Transit of Venus will only happen in June and I guess December. June and December, 6 months apart. I think we did this in our astronomy course, I remember. So I just saw that. Okay, anyway, finally, all the keywords which I was just trying to think of, what all can be put up with Vishaka, jealous, stingy, triumph. So I just gave a list of keywords here, what can be fitted with Vishaka after all the slides. So, and with that, I think that's what my slides end there. Yes, so this is what I have for Vishaka.
Thank you, Adityaji.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good info. Yeah, great. Beautiful.
Yes, I think
Okay.
Vishaka. Yes, Vishaka rising gave the power, I guess. Ascendant, I think now it's in Scorpio, I guess. Right now it might be.
Found a fourth pada.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of interesting info, Aditya. I'll have to say, like especially I like the part where the final part where you show that Buddha Purnima thing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Something.
That is something new, which we are, because we never think about transits, correct? So maybe we should think transits too.
Right. So because that Mercury itself is staying close to Sun all the time, then perhaps there are certain months when then Mercury is actually much closer to the Sun more than normal.
No, you can say some closer. It's the same phenomenon. Actually, they have to come on the line. So it's a nodal point of the Sun-Earth plane and the Sun-Mercury plane and the Sun-Earth plane. When that nodal point comes exactly, then you get the transit.
Right.
Yeah. So and that transit is fixed, and that can only happen at certain months of the year, not to any other month.
Right. Yeah, great. So yeah, I think so. I'll just go ahead and start. But before I start to share my slides, there were like a lot of points discussed. Like I just want to add to some points that wasn't discussed, and maybe more to add on that, which I thought was very interesting. Let me just start off by saying about the arches, like what Aditya showed about arch. So I think you showed Louis arch. And it's kind of very interesting, kind of fascinating to think about. Like, I'm sure that whenever Jupiter Dasha is running, you will enter into some kind of archway, or you will go into some kind of that's going to be a common thing. First of all, what kind of arches can we associate with? Like, one can be the arch of the wedding mandap, right? The other can be the arch of university. So during Jupiter Dasha, it kind of makes sense that you enter into the arch of the university. Court also, exactly. Court can also be under arch. Arch needn't be just the arch. It can also be two pillars, and literally an arch, a flat arch be an arch. So that's also one thing I've seen with Vishaka very strongly, that they might either be pulled to places where there are arches, semicircular arch, or they might be pulled to places with literally pillars, strong pillars. They have a strong entrance to their home, things of that nature. Very pillared home. What is also interesting is that with Vishaka, there is this theme of like, again, this arch theme can also literally, I've seen that this arch, if you look at an arch, it's actually, you have two pillars and then there is a semicircular connection, right? You have a bridge on top of the arch, or the two pillars. So again, you have this theme of like diplomacy, connection, connecting between two worlds, connecting between us, all of that. So again, so that arch is a very important kind of place. In fact, there is some kind of special energies associated merely with being in a place where there is an arch. And in fact, some of the best places are the natural arches. I think there's one in Sedona. In fact, I'm not sure. There's this Bridge Mountain kind of thing, right? Devil's Park Trail or whatever that's called. So it's like a very beautiful kind of arch there. And there are also very many natural bridges also. Probably around the US and probably around the world too. So that's also one of these natives will be naturally feel drawn to like go to those arches, go and go be under those arches. In fact, these are the natives who are also more inclined to really go under bridges too. So like these are natives who would prefer to go actually under bridges and like watch the river flow by or something along those. It's kind of a interesting thing with the arch phenomenon, and the arch is actually a very mystical thing. Because whenever you see,
when I said about Gandharvas and distributing knowledge, they are like the bridge between the heaven and the earth, probably.
Exactly, and there's a lot of hidden. I think what UG raised about that Bharatanatyam being a lost martial art form.
Bridges are connected to Vishaka.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. See, like Libra is actually connected with bridges. Why is that happening? You have Vishaka Nakshatra there. That's the main where Libra Rashi is just in Prashna and stuff like that. In fact, I've seen that whenever, when transitors, for me, like based on my own observation, I've seen that when bridges are activated, right, literally one way or the other, Libra should be activated. But more specific, I strongly believe that it's the Vishaka energy in Libra, which is kind of bringing this association of bridges with Libra. And that's also the origin of diplomacy. That's also the origin of peace, business meetings, all that kind of things, which is Vishaka. What is also great was that what was interesting. So that was one thing. So like, so what I was, yeah, you mentioned about Gandharvas, right? So there is hidden knowledge in music. So that is what these Vishaka natives will be feel drawn to. They'll feel drawn to this music also. You know, about Jupiter and Venus connection. But what is interesting about Indra and Agni with relation to music is that Indra has a roar, right? He's like his thunder. You have that Indra's thunder coming out. So Indra's roar is very much active, you know, like especially when it's raining, you literally feel that thunder and there's nothing you can do about it. So like that kind of thing is what you feel with Vishaka. There's that intense, like literally it comes down upon you, you know. And then with Agni, though, it's like, okay, you can connect Agni again with that Indra's one potential theme, because thunder is always followed by lightning, right? So you have this thunder first, and then you have lightning, right? So then it's fire. So there's that kind of theme that is actually happening with, you know, Indra Agni. So it's like literally you have a thunderstorm coming with, you know. There's a big theme here. So these natives are walking thunderstorms, like literally roar first, and then they'll like everything apart, you know, that kind of thing. And then the other thing is that, so this, but the music thing is very interesting, because Indra itself is like, you know, Indra is like this thunder. You have this very harsh kind of, and then you have Agni, who is always listening to sacred mantras and stuff, right? So you're doing yajnas and havans and stuff like that. The mantra, it's like very disciplined voice. So it's kind of like showing again this theme of like mantra chanting, very strong, powerful mantra chanting, very strong, powerful fire rituals. That's one most important say. These are the natives who love bonfires, you know, who love to be part of bonfires and just like, you know, make a party out of bonfires and things of that nature. Because Vishaka is, again, you have to remember, Vishaka is falling in natural 7th house, so Libra. So there's going to be some element of like connecting voice or music with in front of large groups of people. These are the people who would, yeah, go ahead.
Have you seen artists? I've seen numerous artists and designers.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Actually,
exactly.
That's one thing that I'll even recommend for career a lot of the times, because they're very affected by color and texture. Designers, right. Artists. I was just curious if any of you guys have seen that, because that's, I think, the Agni element with the eyes.
Yes.
No, I have seen artists, definitely.
Artists for sure, yeah.
And war veterans.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And musicians too, Santipji. I just wanted to confirm that. I've also seen that. I completely, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's obviously falling in Libra. So, you know, naturally Libra is associated with music. But I was trying to find out where that music was coming from, Vishaka anchor. You know, so it was kind of interesting, just even going through that. Because even Vishaka, again, a great thing about Vishaka is also that V symbol, right? Now, here's a beautiful thing. So, like, we have the V symbol. Now, one of the sects in Hinduism in India is the Vaishnavites, and they have a marked V right on their forehead. You know, that's one easy way. So, and if you look at Vaishnavites in general, they have a very debating culture. You know, they have a very debating, fighting kind of culture. It's kind of like, you know, you have scholars, you have Madhvacharya versus other scholars kind of thing going on already, you know. So it's catching. And that's also the culture where it's more like, it's like a party kind of, you know, like it's a bhakt. Every people are gathering, they're just dancing around, singing Krishna songs, all that kind of thing, you know. So there's also that kind of theme going on with that. Again, you can see a lot of Vaishnavites with Vishaka. And what's really interesting is that if you attend, if you go to Vaishnavite temples down in South India, one of the prominent thing you will see is the prominent arch. Like Srirangam is probably one of the famous arches, arch temple and the largest arch temple in South India, probably Asia. That temple has a huge arch. And usually, you know, these natives will find themselves under these kind of arches, because they themselves have that, at least in India, you have this kind of fighting devotee kind of thing, you know, this devotee kind of thing, and you'll be naturally towards Vaishnavite kind of temples, you know, especially temples with arches. And usually the other thing is that what I see is also that, but in West, you don't have any Vaishnavite temples. So what do you find? You find them drawn to university kind of arches. These are the natives who are most willing to do like university marches, you know, they are drawn towards arches in the university kind of settings. Like, these are the native and courthouse, all that kind of thing. The natural places where laws are made and all that kind of thinking, fighting.
Yeah, you mentioned I have also seen people who are interested in singing in the church choir. You know, in the church, churches also have a lot of arches in them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who like to be part of any church activities and things like that with Vishaka.
Great.
Right, exactly.
Faith element. Yeah.
Exactly. That faith, definitely. That faith element is a big thing with Vishaka for sure, because it's like one of the big things with things that can bring in peace for them. It's like the fire within them has to be directed. Many times, it's very interesting, UG. Actually, I've seen one devotee of a guru whose literal initiation name was Sachi. Like literally that initiation name was Sachi. And then that devotee of that particular guru was exactly like, complete like seva for the guru kind of devotee. That was kind of interesting, literally, to hear you say that. So literally that played out,
Yeah.
And,
Even
what is
gurus like Sachitananda.
Exactly, definitely. There
Sachitananda.
might be, yes, and definitely that probably that Sachidananda Guru's ashrams would have these arches. Probably when you are entering to an ashram, that kind of thing can also be. Now so I was talking about music and all that. So again, these natives will love to sing. They are more connected with the bhakti marg and all that. They love that heart. They have that full heart of devotion, and that's what ultimately the tiger is supposed to signify. The animal is tiger. So tiger or lion is actually signifying the devotee. So the devotee who is willing to fight for their gurus, fight for their religion, fight for their fight for justice, truth, dharma, all that kind of qualities, which is the truth in the end. And but then the problem is the tiger being a ferocious animal, they like come under a guru. It's like they need some kind of goddess on top of them. They need some kind of Krishna to like lift them up and kind of bring their ego down. So that's kind of many times these natives are naturally drawn towards gurus, or they're naturally drawn towards stronger kind of fighting kind of gurus. They don't for the softer kind of gurus, the mystical kind of gurus who are sitting silent doing nothing. But then these natives are like attract gurus who are more like very combative. They have this kind of like the revolutionary kind of gurus. You could say that. And this can also to revolutionary kind of teachings, revolutionary kind of philosophy, all that Jupiterian kind of themes. Revolutionary kind of. These are probably definitely these. I'm 100% sure if you have a strong atheist friend, definitely they'll have a Vishaka element in it. One who are willing to combat, who are willing to fight in public, who are willing to debate in public. That kind of a theme. Now the other thing with archers again is that this archers can play out in multiple.
Sandeep, just one more thing which came to my mind. I just wanted to add. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Have you heard of one rishi called as Vyagrapada?
Yeah, I think the tiger rishi, right?
Yeah, Vyagra.
No, he was not tiger rishi. He was a rishi who used to go every day into the wild forest to pick up flowers for his worship. And because it had so many thorns and everything, when he used to walk through the wild, he used to always go bare feet because he was going to use those flowers for his worship. So his devotion was so much that he was blessed with the feet of a tiger, because the tigers know how to walk in the forest, in the wild, and that's why he was called Rishi Vyagrapada. So there might be some connection with flowers and worship in
Venus
this
is
Nakshatra.
connected with flowers, correct? And the Rashi Lord is Venus again. So
Exactly. Also remember that so the animal is Vishaka, the male tiger, but the female tiger is actually Chitra, right? So the female tiger is actually Chitra, where Venus is getting debilitated. The natives will naturally feel this drawn, naturally they'll feel like they feel completion only with like Venusian energies. Some kind of lack of Venusian energy is felt. So they're drawn to like flowers, drawn to relationship, drawn to music, all that, drawn to like all this. For them, like looking at an arch is like looking at a sacred geometry kind of thing. Devji, what did you say?
It seems like they're drawn to the heavens. Indra,
Exactly.
things
Exactly.
right? In some
Exactly.
way, those kinds of, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think these natives are drawn to the idea of a higher world. Like these natives are drawn to a higher world. Like, I go to Lord Ram's world, or I go to Krishna's world. That kind of thing after death. That kind of thing. Now, see, here's the important thing.
Almost like a spiritual ambition.
Exactly, a spiritual.
It's kind of an odd.
Yeah.
The purpose.
It has its place though. It has its place in a way that
motivation.
Inspirally, definitely that split. I think that's the beginning of the split. At least there are many natives who, many spiritual modern spiritual masters who would say that you are already God. You don't need to do anything. That kind of argument is placed in. But then you say that to a person who has been drinking all the time, and then who has been partying all the time. That's not out. They are going to need to really transform that fire. And I think that's literally what that Vishaka is all about. That's times these natives are connected with the initiation ritual. So they are entering into this new spiritual domain. So, but then what actually happens in ordinary life is that, say, you find the wedding arch, right? You travel under the wedding arch thinking that, okay, the spirituality of marriage is going to happen. But then you enter into the arch and then you realize marriage is not what you thought it to be. Like, it's not the heavens. It's like, complete, not business. You're like, why did I even get, that kind of thing is actually happening. So it's like many times
from other people's experience.
Yeah, but but it is what happens. Many people actually go through that. So it's like you have this ambition to get married. That's the wrong get married, right? But then they still feel this ambition to get married, and they're like they fight for their marriage. They do everything. They find a good guy. They find a good girl. All that is happening, and then finally they get married, and then they're like, okay, now what? Literally that happens. Like, they're like, okay. These are the natives who will get into the top universities, top college, and then once they cross the university, they'll be like, okay, now what? So it's like, literally that kind of this complete lack of motivation, desire, because they have entered into the arts.
Insatiability, right? You're describing
Exactly.
it. So that's what I mean about the incessant consumerism or whatever it may be. It's like anything to the max.
Exactly. Exactly. And but then, yeah, but what happens? Yeah, what happens is the emptiness of the achievement. So the triumphal arch is kind of showing that you have achieved a triumph. You won a battle. Triumphal arch has been built. But then once the triumphal arch is built, then peaceful times. These are the warriors who will have to find peace in the fact that, okay, now we are living now the war has been won. But what can be done? So these are the natives who get married and then who have to realize that, okay, marriage is already over. Now marriage is a more peaceful kind of thing. Like, it's not the same fight which was for you to like actually get married and stuff like that. After marriage is something else. That's the kind of
wife then.
Well, but yeah, that's the thing. But they have to realize that it's not all about fighting. Initially, they fought with their parents or something, or probably fought with their friends or something like that. Just to get married and stuff like that.
That's why Dr. Pai veterans, war veterans, Dr. Pai.
Yeah, exactly.
All kinds.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
All kinds of wars that you fight. Become a veteran.
Yeah, actually, Napoleon, right? Yeah. Actually, yeah, Napoleon had something prominent in Vishaka. I think he had Jupiter in Vishaka, also Ascendant in Vishaka. So he's like a war veteran, But these natives war. That's a big thing, these natives literally have to fight war. Right? It's the only thing that makes sense to them, And then, but that's the important thing, that they have to kind of, they have to kind of, target, channelize that combating energy towards a deeper purpose. That's one big thing. But I think I get carried away with all that. But what I'm saying is that this Vishaka, the symbol of V, I explained the Vaishnavite connection. So the same Vaishnavite energy in the West or
Jupiter Atma Karaka in Vishaka for Napoleon.
Exactly. Yeah. So the other thing also. One thing with one thing with V is that V is actually like the symbol, the inverted triangle. Now, inverted triangle is also connected with Bharani Nakshatra. So there's a lot of fertility that is connected with this placement, So these natives will find a lot of connection with the earth itself.
But like Vishaka is actually opposite of Bharani.
Exactly. So now it makes you think, right? Okay, what is the connection happening? Why is it happening, Now then, it's like because of this connection with fertility, connection with Bharani, these natives are also agriculture, a lot of farmers, a lot of farming community. In fact, the plow itself is going down. And that's kind of an interesting thing. And so this V is also like a plow. So many times I've seen this team of like connecting with plow and all that. But one other interesting thing is also...
when my teacher was telling me, especially Vishaka natives, problem with especially for birth issues and normal. So it's again womb related issues.
Exactly.
Something problem with the womb and all. So if you say Bharani as the womb, Vishaka is opposite of Bharani. So problems with connected.
Exactly.
And for those Qurans saying to pray under the Vishaka moon for children.
Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe perhaps has something to do with childbirth.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
If there is some problem with childbirth, Bharani, then the Kilaka, I was saying Saumya Kilaka, which means the key to open up that lock.
Right, Dr. Paiji. Yes, actually, absolutely. Yeah, because problems during childbirth are usually with the uterus and with the constraint,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
things not opening or not working correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the mostly the issues which Vishaka females face.
With, with the fallopian tubes, I guess. Fallopian tubes are
That
also
can happen. That
like
can be
Vishaka.
yeah, complication. Exactly. Yeah, that's interesting.
Fallopian tubes I feel like Dr. Pai, like Anuradha, you know, because lotus stem,
Yeah,
lotus
exactly.
stem,
Exactly.
and uterus shape is
Exactly.
basically the V. You know, uterus
Exactly.
shape.
Exactly that. Exactly that. So that's exactly what is happening. It's like where that debilitated moon is happening, right? Where that motherhood is completing, right? So that birth is happening. So that's where that Vishaka is literally the moon is getting debilitated because literally that birth is happening through Vishaka portal. Even like even though the entire fallopian tube, the whole thing is burning and all that, but then you can see that birth literally coming through, and that's what that's one of the most difficult things for these natives. That if you look at the nakshatra that are opposite to Vishaka, you have Bharani, Kritika. So like one, like two padas of Bharani and then two padas of Kritika, and then they have to kind of face this death. It's like when you go and what happens when you get initiated under a guru, when you enter into this kind of university, when you enter into this religious sect or whatever it be, you have to kind of kill a part of yourself. A part of you is destroyed, and old self is completely gone, and the new self has to be born. Now that's exactly what Kritika is all about. The fire that is within, that is being born. So it's like that discriminating intelligence is what the guru is trying to awaken through with Vishaka, and that's why I was seeing these natives like this initial intellectual kind of spirituality. Like they are drawn to all these philosophies like Mimamsa, all that stuff. They are like drawn to it. They just have to study. They just have to they have to eat all those books alive. Literally the thing is what happens. And then what is interesting is that. One other thing also I can say is that because of this fire connection, right? I've seen this theme of like this Vipassana meditation retreats. These are the natives who will really benefit because of this Vipassana kind of meditation. These are because it's also all about this witnessing. You are witnessing what is happening. That kind of a thing is actually happening. So these need to be drawn to those meditation retreats and all that kind of thing. So yeah, but the problem is that like if you go for naturally, if you go for all these intellectual kind of books and mimams and all that with Vishaka, the problem is that you need a guru literally. So it used to be that the guru would explain all the books, all the philosophy and stuff like that. But nowadays it's like people go for books straight up and then they just compare to those, But then there's no natural natives who are prone to that. Let's see. And then
I'm not
okay,
sure.
yeah.
The Didi is okay.
I think you can put him on mute. Maybe
I am fine. What happened? Oh,
Sounds like you're dropping things.
no, actually.
I could hear some, plastic
No,
as
there's
well.
no plastic.
Are you opening a bag?
To make rice, there's nothing available today. I had to make 11 o'clock. I had to make and then eat now.
Yeah. So one other thing I want to say was also just to with the arches, right? I've seen these arches play out in many ways. One can be the shopping mall arches in shopping malls. Other can be the simple arch as a decorating piece in your own shop. Literally like you might have a small arch where you have like simple items being sold on that. That kind of thing can also happen. The other deal is that remember this whole initiation kind of a portal to a higher world. You're going to a higher domain, higher knowledge stream. Seen many times teams of this portal, and used to be that ancient times portals would happen through trade. So these are natural traders, natural men. That's why what in Aditya was showing about gateway of India, literally that Mumbai, right? Mumbai is literally a port. That's what the gateway of India. So many times these natives are drawn to ships. They want to sail. They have the love for sailing. They have this love for business meetings. They have the love for trading, traveling abroad and coming back for those business traders. And the interest that literally there's some connection with ships can also happen. These are literally the sailors who are travelers, And literally these are the native
business.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other thing is that, these are so if you're traveling literally like a sailor, you literally might have a sailor mouth also, your mouth will also be like a sailor. So like all this Indra's kind of like, strong speeches coming through, like what would be the speech of Indra, right? So that's also the other thing.
Speech. I have seen harsh speech with Vishaka. It's not always, of course. You have to look at the whole horoscope. There's going to be some very diplomatic Vishakas out there, but I have noticed that, Sanjit.
Right. Yeah, it's also
towards it, even if they don't use what you would call like crass words, they may still speak harshly or too bluntly or too,
Right. Right. One last thing is that, about, before I share my slides, one last thing is that it's kind of interesting that Sun is actually debilitated in, Vishaka. So it's like, because it's kind of pointing to a lot of themes of what our soul's purpose is, like we are trying to use.
Sun debilitates.
No, Sun was born in Vishaka, right? Sun's birth star is Vishaka.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Yeah.
So it's like kind of showing that ultimately we are all born either to go into a higher world, or we are born to literally like unite with our own deeper self. That's what Vishaka is. That's what marriage really is about. That's the big thing in the end. That's what this whole union thing, that's union with the guru also happening here. Now see, let's explain the basic Pai Padhati thing for Vishaka, and it's kind of interesting. What is really interesting is that when you look at the whole Pai Padhati with exaltation, Multrikon, and debilitation Rashi is connected with Vishaka, literally whatever we discuss, everything can be seen. Literally everything. Nothing can be left. So like if you look at Vishaka, soul cycle is 6th. You can probably connect it with service and all that. Rashi Padas are literally from 7 to 9, and you can see this first house and 7 to 9th house themes. Literally, this is one way to look at that. But 6th, that of combat, fighting. 6th house theme is that of even service also. So that's what you would ideally want a devotee to do. Like you would want to be of service. Now, Nakshatra Lord is Jupiter. Mulatrikona of Jupiter is Sagittarius. Exaltation is happening in Cancer. Debilitation is happening in Capricorn. And these are the corresponding houses. Now, interesting thing about Vishaka is that it's a Jupiter ruled nakshatra with 3 padas in Libra and 1 pada in Scorpio. So that is kind of giving this two themes. This is happening. You can think of like 2 ways of 2 house number sets that is happening with Vishaka. One is that for the padas in Libra, the numbers that you will have to look at is 34. The 10th house is where it's getting exalted. 3rd house is where it's having its Mulatrikon. 4th house is where Jupiter is getting debilitated. So you have this 10th house, 3rd house, 4th house themes going along with 3rd house lordship of Jupiter and 6th house lordship of again for Libra ascendant. And then for the pada in Scorpio, you have these numbers of 9th house where Jupiter is getting exalted from Cancer. 2nd house where it's having its Mulatrikon, and 3rd house where it's getting debilitated. And then the house lordship is literally 2nd house and 5th house lordship for Jupiter from Scorpio. And then literally what we were discussing, almost everything fits. Like, okay, why are these natives, why do these natives fight? Because for 3 padas are in Libra, Jupiter is lord. And then they might literally fight with their family because Jupiter is getting debilitated in 4th house. But how do they fight? They might try to, how can they change that up? How can they improve?
May I mention right now what you just said? That's something I wanted to say from the beginning and forgot. I have seen so much conflict in the family for Vishaka native. One parent at least. It can be the father very often, but it doesn't have to only be the father, but you will see a lot of conflict many times. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So you saw 4th house debilitation theme happening, and also Jupiter is having its Multrikon in 3rd house. So there's a lot of conflict with communication teams, all that, to the point where they just want to go away. Most of these traders just didn't find peace and they just want to go away from their home. Things of that nature.
Especially with father, I have seen that a lot.
Yes, it is specifically with father that there's some separation or some tension or some intensity. I've seen a lot of alcoholic fathers. Those kinds of themes playing out, or what do you call it, absent fathers.
Right.
Those kinds of things. But I have seen mother too, so it can just be a family thing, or the person is unwilling to create peace in their family.
Right.
Is unwilling to. It's not always the Vishaka person at fault. It's really not. But you will see that occasionally where the person's just not really willing to create that peace.
Yeah, it's Yeah.
Karthikeya, because he never, I mean, everybody wanted to say that he, I mean, wanted to claim about his birth, isn't it?
Yes.
Agni, then it was Earth, Bhudevi, then it was Ganga, then it was the forest, the Kritikas, everybody wanted to claim stake in his birth. So there might be some complications with, even with parenting, I think, of such children who have.
Yes. And Dr. Paiji, I'm not sure any of you gentlemen, I don't know if you've read this story, and forgive me, I don't know where it comes from. I know I've read it, but this story about Parvati, she comes to Karthikeya to ask him something, and she obliges him, she obligates him somehow. And he gets so irritated at the fact that love should never obligate. He gets so irritated that a mother's love is obligating that he throws up all the milk that she ever nurtured him with and hands it back. And so, you know, if you, in other words, he's telling her, if you would have approached me with purity, if you would have approached me with no motive, I would have done anything for you. But you just obligated me, and it has this binding to it.
Right.
I'll give you everything back you've ever given me.
Right.
And I'm not going to do what you've asked me to do.
Right. Yeah. What's really what's really interesting now, Yuji, is that now you begin to add in the next layer, which is to consider the planets which are getting exalted and planets which are getting debilitated and all that, you know. And
Exactly.
then what you suddenly find is that from Libra ascendant, Libra padas of Vishaka, moon is literally getting debilitated in second house. So he literally had to vomit milk. You know, he had some kind of.
He gives it back. Yeah, all the nourishing.
Exactly.
Then he gives back.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And probably he found that it was not coming with pure intention. So there was this faith element, right? This Jupiterian qualities, which was literally questioned. So what is the mother's role? Literally, you can see that, you know, moon is getting exalted in 8 hours from Vishaka. So literally, he felt like, you know, he had some mother issues to sort out. You know, literally he had
a hidden
intention. Exactly, this 8 hours connection with mother. So mother had a hidden kind of intention, literally, which made him spill his milk. You know, literally whatever he consumed in milk was literally thrown out. I also mentioned that father missing father. Yeah, go ahead.
Eighth also the fifth from fourth.
Right.
Isn't
exactly.
It?
Right.
The past life karmas of your mother is amplified because of the exaltation of the moon.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what's really interesting is that, but then you add the other layers, right? So, like, sun is getting debilitated, so that immediately explains these natives might have some kind of ego issues, or perhaps some missing father. You know, sun literally is getting debilitated here. And then, but then interesting thing is that you have Venus and Saturn is getting exalted here. So these natives will have some kind of hard work mentality, realities of life early on in their life, all that kind of thing. Again, family can be the theme for, you know, family and children can be how these natives are literally facing that reality, because Saturn is literally ruling 4th house and having its Multrikona in 5th house, getting exalted in 1st house in Libra, where Vishaka padas are. You see, Venus is having its Multrikona here. Natives are literally trying to, you know, trying to balance all terrain energies by considering Venusian peaceful energies of Venusian. You know, that's what ultimately these natives are trying to do. They're trying to find some peace. That's why probably they're even trying to unite with a bride or unite with a husband through marriage and things of that nature. But because of the Jupiterian conflict, right? So it's not an easy thing for these natives to handle. There's too much of energies they have to handle. Literally, also, it's kind of interesting again. So if you assonance again and sum up all these, you literally are describing nothing more than Vishaka and Nakshatra energies being debilitated here. Again, they might have to deal with mother issues. And then, if you look at the Krishna's story, like Indra's pride was subjugated by Krishna literally lifting up a mountain. So if you look at the corresponding houses, Krishna would be Rohini Nakshatra, and that's the 8th house for Vishaka. And then moon is getting debilitated here. So like Indra became Indra with his loss of power, which is falling in Mars ruled Rashi. So this loss of power theme happened. And then now Krishna is the one who is like balancing it out for Indra in the end. He tried to create rain, which is again moon. Maybe you could consider it as liquid, coming down upon you. Again, probably this is what the higher moon expression or liquid expression could be coming in the form of rain. So it's like all that is happening. And then Krishna was the one who literally had to lift up a mountain. Why is that mountain happening? Because it's falling in a Taurus earth sign. So the Krishna, Rohini Nakshatra in earth sign, which is balancing this kind of theme. And many reasons why these Vaishnavites have a strong inclination towards Krishna. Straight up, they go towards Krishna. Why is this philosophy gathered around the Krishna? Not Shaivites. Shaivites don't care. Shaktais are crazy anyways. But the Vaishnavites are literally fighting it out. So it's like you find that kind of a theme literally energetically happening through these nakshatras. So that's one of the things which I want to say. And one thing point was again one last point I will say is that in Karthikeya festival you have this interesting thing of the devotees will put spears up their tongues with lime. You can connect the lime connect with Barney and this. Say that again.
Through the tongue?
Yeah. They would you can find, they put spears, but the tongue is like a regenerative organ, so that's completely fine. Tongue will be fine. And you put the spear there, and there'll be like lemon put on top of the spear. And then they have to dance for Muruga by having the arch on their back. Literally, you are seeing Vishaka symbolism. Literally, you are seeing this like they have to put an arch on top of them, and then they put the tongue with this, and then they do it. So it's like literally activating that Vishaka energy, especially during that time of Vishaka, that Murugan celebration. And so these are the natives. So the Indian versions might be like, okay, you're doing the Murugan thing, but the version could be like, these are the natives who are actually have to carry the cross of Christ. These are natives who will literally carry the cross. They would like self-mutilate themselves and be nailed to the cross literally, because the similar kind of theme that is actually playing out also. That's the kind of intensity they want to go through. That's the kind of transformation they want to go through, because they find that strong unity with their guru. That's what is actually happening ultimately. So it's like you can see that Jupiter's lordship is happening with 6th house, but then when final part of Vishaka, which is the falling in Scorpio, that Jupiter's exaltation is happening in the 9th house. Jupiter is literally the 5th house, So that Venus energy is also mixing it up and kind of bringing a strong element of devotion to the point where they're willing to fight for the principles they are devoted to, or the guru or beliefs they are devoted to. So that's one thing, So it's kind of interesting again. Why is an arch happening in the home, right? So you can see that arch energy should literally go to the Rashi where Jupiter is getting debilitated. So that your arch should be in your 4th house of home or land, So that's one easy thing. And that's how, and many times are drawn to arches to the point of like, not just energetic arches, they are even like, they are drawn to places with arches. That's a very common thing. Like they take a selfie and there's an arch behind them. They don't even realize there's an arch behind them. That kind of thing is actually happening. And that's the other interesting thing, So combining all these houses, and you can actually balance these houses, the Vishaka energy, by working on a communication. You can see that Jupiter's Multrikon is third by controlling how you're presenting yourself. I mean, these are natives who feel the need to, you can approach things diplomatically, like you need it in like, if Vishaka natives, if they learn to like control their, even if they control the roar of the thunder, right? So immediately it can calm down. Immediately it can calm down. That's a simple thing for them. And how can they control it? Definitely go to temples and stuff, because this Jupiter's Multrikon is falling in 9th house. Go to universities, get educated, connect with gurus, connect with professors, people of that nature. Connect. You go to look at other cultures out there.
Pacify the fire.
Exactly.
Somehow, yeah.
Exactly. So that focusing on Jupiter, Multrikon, Rashi of Sagittarius will be an easy way. And what is the definition? Look at the definitions of your philosophy. What does that mean? Okay, if you're studying Mimamsa, what does that mean? Then you find out that, okay, the definitions which you have been sticking with may have had some kind of problem. And then you have to actually consult with the guru to find deeper meaning behind those things, those kind of things. So, and then you find that you find this piece of then this Jupiter exaltation definitely immediately come down to you. And that's why it's interesting that these natives also feel a calling to serve their guru. So what was the connection there? Jupiter is the 6th lord. You can see the number here. Jupiter is the 6th lord of service into natural 12th house of Pisces, which is like why these natives are drawn to ashrams to literally serve their gurus, literally that. And
Or
you just can't.
isolation. Have you
Exactly.
seen
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they are more of a worldly mind. They may still
Exactly.
isolate themselves. I've seen
Exactly.
or need isolation at times.
Right. Exactly. Definitely that. Exactly that. And that's what they need their own isolation. They need their own time to do their own spiritual practices. They need their own time to do their own occult practices for their own peace of mind. It's a big thing for these natives. And even if it means that you are joining a group where people are just dancing around singing bhajans or whatever, even if that be the thing, you can still find peace with that. And then you should still try to do that. These are natives who might love to be part of the crowd and still people in the crowd, that kind of a thing. On the other hand, you have to kind of watch out for the mob mentality too. That's the other thing. You should kind of have this in a balance kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I have to share about all this. So yeah, but it's kind of interesting. This. I mean, there's a lot more to explore with Vishaka and this particular chart and this particular image for sure. But yeah, literally, all the mythologies, I'm 100% sure you can fit into all this kind of image.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that Santip, you have gone to such depth. I really loved the way you have presented, even Aditya, Eve G, all of all of you. And sometimes I also wonder if this connection between Bharani and Vishaka, because you say Vishaka is the birth of sun and Bharani is the birth of Rahu. And one of the symbologies that you see is the potter's wheel. I wonder if the potter's wheel is nothing but the Sudarshan Chakra of Vishnu, because sun is the Sudarshan Chakra, Vishnu's, and opposite is Rahu.
Right.
This axis also connected to a great desire to achieve the Amrit in life, and then to get your head severed or head snipped off because of a great desire. So somewhere you have to really understand this whole equation, I feel.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dr. Pai, because Sudarshan Chakra, literally, what does Sudarshan mean, right? Sudarshan means like good sight,
Good sight,
so
Darshan.
good sight. Literally, look at sight. What is Sudarshan Chakra? You are literally activating the within, you are literally seeing what is happening in your own mind. That's what the gurus are trying to literally make you do. Look at what is happening in your own mind. Literally, what is really interesting is that that you find that Jupiter being exalted in 4th house. So literally, ultimately, there's some deeper connection with the heart. That's what will ultimately bring the final peace of mind. So it's like they literally have to like come down to the heart. Even though there's a lot of happening here in this axis with these and all that, and 1st house and all that, ultimately it's the heart placement which will kind of bring them this clarity. Like that's what is actually happening. And but the Sudarshan Chakra, it's kind of interesting, Dr. Pai, because definitely that potter's wheel is literally, remember that Chitra is also the opposite animal Nakshatra, which is connected with Vishwakarma, which is definitely connected with weapons for sure. So in a way that that Sudarshan Chakra is more like a tool or a meditative tool, which is actually helping them to reach higher depths with, higher connection with their own heart, a deeper connection with their own heart. I think that is possible with Vishaka, because that finally that moon is getting debilitated in Scorpio, that they have that energy which they can literally fill them in. They have that potential to that void to fill themselves in with their own effort. Why do I say with their own effort? Because you can see that Jupiter's Mulatrikon is falling in 3rd house from Libra ascendant. So that theme of like their own effort, self-effort to do that, willing to like do the travel necessary, willingness to read the books and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I've seen Vishaka qualities with connection with public libraries also, because literally it's like you can't get Vishaka than that. It's like the archway of a library.
Venus, Jupiter, all knowledge.
Exactly, that 7th house teams of Libra also, that mass group, all that. Yeah, definitely.
See, can we relate Jupiter's expansion? You see.
Yes.
So again, Vishaka Nakshatra is again something like expansive.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. But the expansion of Jupiter, kind of a what do you say, in a structured way. That's the best. It should come up in an archway. Even though the expansion of Jupiter in Cancer might be like huge, like Guru can go crazy in their own home. They'll do all kinds of things. But certainly, it's the Guru is put in place of public, right? In place of public. So there should be tools. There should be like some kind of mass social laws that are put in place, all these, like, typical religion thing, whether it be churches, whether it be Hindu thing, temples, all that kind of thing. So natives who have to fulfill these laws initially, but then, the more they eventually control their energies and find that Jupiter exaltation within Cancer, then it's like, they find the deeper meaning of all that laws also within their own.
Is
So,
it,
yeah.
forgive me if I'm wrong, but is it Shishupal that gets beheaded?
Yeah.
By Lord Krishna, right? And it's because of what he says, right? It's his.
Because there were 108 chances, I guess, after the 100.
It's from his speech, right? His complaints against Lord Krishna, which I actually think that's interesting, even with the Rohini access. The moon getting reported to Dakshina. But I was just thinking, everything you're saying is there's something about this ego of being right.
Right.
There's something about this fighting for what's right, and then there's a higher intelligence than being right.
Yes.
And that higher intelligence is always going to put that flame out. So yes. I'm realizing as you're speaking about all this need to correct others, or this need to, yes, it has its place, but it can become quite self-righteous. And yes. Whenever we think we're right, we've already shut our intelligence down.
Yes.
Yes. So that, anyways, you were talking about libraries, and Dr. Paiji said the thing about, yes, I just realized now, Shishupal that was his whole thing. He thought he was right. He had all of these complaints against someone with indescribable access to hidden intelligence. So I mean, it's just such a bigger elephant than a little tiger. He's like an elephant sitting on a tiger, At some point, we're not thinking we're right. Only can go so far, and there's only so much that you can fight for until there's a point of surrender.
Right.
And that intelligence, it's bigger, it's deeper.
Right.
So this is really, it's really profound the way this is laid out. So thank you guys.
Definitely, Yuji, that I think ultimately it all comes down to that surrender point. Sometimes it's kind of interesting. Like, we might start off fighting, then we end up surrendering. But we might end up surrendering, and then we might still end up fighting too. It can also happen the other way also. So it's like, but then I think, but it's kind of important to still be aware though, just to see what exactly is happening. Are you surrendering, fighting? What exactly is there a need?
Well, the kind of surrender I'm referring to is not just surrender out of defeat. It's actually a certain kind of victory.
Right. Exactly.
It's just that you can't understand that as long as you think you're right,
or it's a surrender of Ashoka.
You know something.
Correct.
You're blocked.
Surrender of Ashoka. That's what my philosophy teacher used to say. That what is the difference between even Ashoka? He also surrendered, and Arjuna also wanted to surrender. So both are same. Then what is the difference? There was a difference because Arjuna wanted to escape from the battlefield, and Ashoka won the battle and everything. And then he thought, what is the use? And then he realized that. And then surrendering of Ashoka is different from the surrendering of Arjuna.
Because it has meaning and it has understanding.
Understand,
and
yes.
It's the relief of, so I'm just realizing this with Vishaka, it needs to fight for a cause. It needs to feel like it knows something.
It's like if I get all the riches and then surrender and give away the riches, that's a much higher than saying that I don't have anything, and if I say why to struggle, why to become rich. First you have the richness, and then to surrender, that is much bigger. Rather than not having and surrendering.
That's beautiful, because that is the story. There's a story, and it's an old tale. I mean, I don't know where it originates. My teacher used to tell it, but it's about a hunter and a tiger. And so basically the tiger is the manifestation of the biggest healthy ego. And only the hunter can skin the tiger. But eventually the tiger has to be skinned.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing, there is a place. It's an intellectual debates and all that. There is a place for.
There's a place absolutely for protection, defense.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that, but in Kali Yuga, you might also think twice about whatever.
It's interesting, Evji, you mentioned about Shishupal. Okay, And for Aditya, this might be very interesting to maybe go and research. The mandala for connection with Shishupal is called as Shishumara Mandala. Shishumara Mandala means it's Dhrutara or Dharmatara.
Wow.
The 7 rishis are connected, and that mandala is called as Shishumara. Shishumara means to slay Shishupala, or
Death of
death of children also.
Yes.
Death of children. Shishupala. What is Shishupala? Shishu means children. Pala means somebody who takes care of those children.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Right. The Lord of children. Oh right. Totally. Yes.
Yes. So that's why you see the connection with the Karthikeya, and you were talking about Balarista. I don't want to emphasize that because unless you can do more research, but definitely go and look at Aditya Shishumara, or it's I think Ursa Minor.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
because the Ursa Minor, the tail of the Ursa Minor, the last tail of the Ursa Minor is got the pole star, basically.
Dhruta. Or it's called Dharmitara. So there is something.
Vicky has sent me something on those. I need to see it, and on the Shishumara and all. So I need to.
And look at even, is it called Bhutis?
That is Swati.
Yeah, that was called as a Bhutesha Mandala. So you will have to look at these mandalas to understand the real meaning. Shishumara Mandala, Bhutesha Mandala. There are so many mandalas, and nakshatras are based in these mandalas.
Beautiful. Yes.
Right. So what is the Shishupala? Shishupala actually is he the character that was killed by Krishna?
He was his nephew something.
Nephew.
Cousin or nephew? Cousin, I guess. Something.
He promised his mother that he would give him
100 chances or something, or 108.
Maybe 108 chance. Yes, and it's through his mouth that he gets his head chopped, because he just keeps going about.
It was said that when he was born, he had some 4 hands and something.
Yes,
and then his mother asked, like, you have given me these children. How he will die? Basically, who will be slayer? So the god said that if you give the child in anyone's hand, and going to that hand, if the child drops his other 2 extra hands, he will be the one who will kill him. Yeah. So I think when he was born, Krishna and everyone came, and when Krishna took that child, the 2 hands dropped off, and his mother came to know that Krishna is going to kill him, and then she goes and says to Krishna, "Oh, this was the prediction, and now it is think that you may be going to kill him." At that time, Krishna gives the promise to his mother, saying that I will excuse 100 or 100
or 180
offenses, right? And so in the royal court, Shishupal insults Krishna. It
was the Rajasuya Yajna of Indra.
Yes. Yes, and so it's a righteous. He thinks he's better. He's asserting his. I know. He's asserting his righteousness over.
Yeah, because Krishna was given as a chief guest, and then he didn't like that. Why you have to give to this Krishna who stole?
And he goes on and on and on, and so there is that element of the righteous warrior that when it reaches its limit, it feels the authority to thrash anyone or to. Without the depth, there's something with Vishaka. It has to watch out. I feel what releases from its mouth. It can be very intense. It can hurt other people. They can say very, at times, hurtful things, or
it can hurt. Yes, I've seen that too. Yes.
Yes, they can hurt other people, or they can expose the truth, which that's the beautiful side. They may have to go against a teacher and expose the truth, or they may. There's always 2 sides.
But again, note that he was he was the basically Jaya Vijaya. He was the 3rd Janma of. We all know the story of Jaya Vijaya. They were cursed by Vishnu.
Yes, he was the incarnation.
Doorkeepers of Vishnu.
Yeah.
So one was Hiranyakashipu and
him, right?
Yeah, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and then Kamsa and Shishupala was the last.
Got it. Okay.
So he got basically moksha after that act, and then and just after that, I think when Sri Krishna killed him, I think Krishna's finger had cut because of the Sudarshan Chakra, and then Draupadi comes and ties basically from her cloth. She cuts and she ties the Krishna's fingers so that the blood will stop. And then Krishna promised her that one day I will repay you back. And then he comes during when she was disrobed in the Hastinapur gambling, and Krishna comes and paybacks that due of Draupadi because she has spent a cloth in tying his finger, and he has given so many cloths basically covering her body and not getting insulted.
Yeah, in fact, and Draupadi is also connected with Vishaka because Draupadi and Draupad, both of them came out of the Yagna.
Yagna, yes.
And then
Drishtadyumna.
Her brother. So, and then it's kind of the dimorphic pair, right?
Correct. Dimorphic pair, yes.
Coming, and then
destroy.
Correct. Yes.
Exactly.
Drishtadyumna was made to kill Dronacharya. Correct. Drupad made the
Drishtadyumna, yes.
Want to kill a guru? Okay, that's interesting.
Kill a guru, yeah. Because he said that Yagna has to be done because he wants Drupad and Dronacharya were good friends. Then later they became bitter enemies. So Drupad really wanted to take revenge on Dronacharya.
It's all ego, right? The whole story is about two tigers in some way.
Right.
And then he was
insulted. And
he recommended to do a yagna, and I think during that time there was some delay by the queen. The queen didn't come on the time, and the sage got angry. Basically, said that I've told you a muhurta, and then you are not coming at that muhurta. This is not something which is going according to your wish. And the sage gets angry, and then he puts something in the fire, and then first Draupadi comes, and then Drishtadyumna comes, and it was Drishtadyumna who killed Dronacharya.
It's kind of interesting because in Vishaka, Nakshatra opposite, and the Burmese were Saturn was getting delayed or debilitated. So the wife of the king was literally the one who came late, who came last. But it's kind of interesting also. That's definitely Vishaka. The other thing is that
there is some enmity with the guru. Again, Jupiter factor comes in the picture.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, right? So enemies. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Pai. Go ahead.
No, it's very, very interesting. You're mentioning about guru, and also insulting a guru. Vishaka can also insult a guru, or even metaphorically kill a guru.
Yes.
Why? Because even Indra had slayed Vishwarupa.
Right. Right.
And if you see here, if you take the Libra side of Vishaka, if you see what happens, Jupiter goes and exalts in the 10th house, which is actually second house from 9th house.
Right. Maraka for Guru.
Maraka for the Guru.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe in some sense, Vishaka natives, they might not do it intentionally, but they might actually want to cut a guru, not cut literally. I'm just saying, go against his teaching, or try to show that there is a different path.
Right.
In a way that getting disrespect or disrepute for the guru.
This can play out with Karthikeya in general, I believe, like even Kritika, because when you look at it, you look at all those stories, he's quite independent. He's always getting frustrated with someone.
Yes.
Right.
So there is something about that needing to be independent. You look at the birth star, the sun even, like, they need to have their own personal willpower guide you instead of listening to someone who may not actually have the skill to lead you.
Right.
I mean, that happens. Right. So there is a beautiful side to Vishaka or Kritika, I would say, or just the energy of Karthikeya. You could even give like Mars.
If you say Vishaka, which Indian city comes in your mind?
Mumbai.
Vishakhapatnam?
No. Just from the word Vishaka.
Vishakhapatnam?
Vishakhapatnam. Yeah, Vishakhapatnam.
Vishakhapatnam is what? Port. Where this ships
exactly.
and all those
exactly,
things.
right?
Vishakhapatnam.
Exactly.
You have ships and all for Indian Navy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I've been there, but I did not know. Yes.
One of the battleships is always based there.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yes, battleship. Yeah.
So probably naval warfare, probably.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was interesting about that Draupadi, Vishaka, if birth star of Vishaka is Draupadi, and then if I say the Vimshottari Dasha, Draupadi would have begun with Jupiter.
Draupadi is Vishaka.
Yeah, sorry, that's the, what I meant. Jupiter is retrograde, right? So it makes, so like, birth star of Draupadi is Vishaka. So she begins off with Jupiter Dasha, and then she enters into Saturn Dasha of Anuradha. So
Yes.
like, literally you can see that she had to go in exile and all that theme. So Anuradha played out, So that kind of makes sense with Draupadi. And look at what happened to
Traveling on
Draupadi, right?
or traveling. Anuradha
Exactly.
is usually in perpetual travel. Yeah, there's
Exactly.
No, actually, Draupadi's words. No, she said "Andha ka beta andha" to
that's
Duryodhan.
right. Her words were
The words were the whole Mahabharata was
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
it's her unbraided hair and
Exactly.
yes, so
Exactly.
once again the speaking, the words.
Yeah. It's the
the son
reflection
of,
too,
I
right?
think
So you
that
can
maybe US people will know. She said the son of
yeah.
blind is a
Right.
blind. So that created
Right.
the whole Mahabharata, and
Yeah.
that
But also that source was that the reflection of her face was being not looked into, something like that. By you can see the moon being debilitated in the fixed water sign of Lake, Scorpio. So like that water body, that moon being debilitated was how it started. That's kind of interesting, actually. How that
no, I think the
entire
Mahabharata, if you look and study Nakshatra,
yeah.
You will be able to tell all the nakshatras with Mahabharata. Even if you think, what was her woe? I mean, she wanted the blood of Duryodhana and Dushasana.
Vishasan.
Wanted to wash her hair.
Vishasan.
Comb her hair with the blood of, or wash her hair with the blood of Duryodhana and Dushasana, which
Right.
can, when you look at it, it becomes.
Yeah, that seems like a Barney totally.
Barney,
Barney is
exactly.
like literally that waters that purify. That's the water that would purify her.
Purify her.
No, I think she always, even when Krichaka, the queen of Virata's brother, when he insulted her, she said, "I'm not going to wipe this blood from my lips until he's dead." I have seen, and she
Right.
goes to Bhima, and the Bhima kills him, and then I think she is famous for taking all those vows. I guess I don't know why.
Right. Yeah.
But remember, it is
There
the
must be something with vowels. You're saying Anuradha,
Yes.
Vishaka, those two nakshatras always.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking.
As well.
Yeah, I was thinking when you mentioned Shishupala, right? I think the word Shah would come around Satabisha. That Satabisha already has that Shah energy, and then at Satabisha the symbol itself is a circle. That's the chakra. So that's like how that Shishupala literally was killed there. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I think I wonder if these natives would actually benefit by reading the entire like if they, rather than studying the entire Purana and stuff, they should just go read the Mahabharata or something. Like maybe watch the entire Mahabharata TV series on YouTube and stuff like that. Maybe that might help.
Sedona, we should do Mahabharata, Dr. Pai, a play of Mahabharata, Pai team, Mahabharata play.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I say
Okay.
we need to do one video Bollywood style.
Maybe in Sedona, that will reserve that. I think Kapiel will be part of that. He's already
of course.
composing the song on which we will be having a Bollywood show.
Yeah, he was saying what Vishwatma song, correct?
So just watch out for us. We will be performing with Kapiel.
I have a last point, Dr. Pai.
Yeah, before we wrap up, I think it's
Yes, we're
another big Bollywood movie.
speaking of a Bollywood.
No, I that's what I did research. Nakshatra video length by Pi team. So Ashlesha video was 3 hours. Purva Falguni was around 2 hours. Uttara Falguni 2:22:25. That's interesting. Hasta 2 hours 5 minutes. Chitra 2:38.
Yeah. Right.
Swati, I think Vishaka also we crossed 3. I don't know. I need to see now what.
I think we did.
I think we crossed 3 hours, I guess. So I'm maintaining a record of what is the video length.
I think
it makes sense. Yeah,
Okay.
Vishaka. Yeah, I think he won't invite us back, but I think we can blame it on Jupiter being retrograde and all that. You're transiting. You're talking about Vishaka. Yeah, blame it on the planets, like what astrologers would do.
It was, Saturn is also retrograde, Jupiter is also retrograde now.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
If you think
Is the moon in Magha? Is the moon in Magha or Purva Falguni?
Moon is in Magha today. Yes.
Right.
To the max. To go to the maximum.
Yeah, but interestingly, Ashlesha, we went for 3 or 40 minutes. That's surprising. We need to break that. That means definitely we need to do 4 hours.
I think you can't defeat Rahu. You can't defeat Rahu. That's the big thing. Rahu is like the supreme, king supreme. Rahu was in Ashlesha when we did, Rahu was in Magha actually, but this is Magha Ashlesha border, so yeah.
Correct.
Yes, I think so.
And I can put the date also here.
For that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if
I
I'll
think
do the shortest.
we are doing good. We are back to 3 hours. So good.
We've fulfilled our responsibility.
Less than 3 hours is Bollywood movie. We need to beat Bollywood movies. Come on.
I think there will be betting going on in the next videos. How many hours these people are going to do videos for.
Yeah.
One we have to do in Hindi, but you guys have to be gentle with me. You have to wait. I don't know if I can do Jeshta yet. Maybe it might be Purvashada. So it won't be so choppy. My teacher won't get upset with me.
We'll do it. I think with 2 South Indians here, I think 3 South Indians, but one is from Mumbai, so his Hindi might be much better than us.
Well,
Yeah.
forget South Indian.
My Hindi will be Bollywood Hindi for sure. So
I think the guest appearance will be Kapiel Raaj. We'll bring him also. So,
Yeah. I haven't seen much of his, I think the Rahu dance. Maybe one of those videos we should do with him.
yeah, Rahul does.
Like the Rahu dance. So we're missing that of Kapil.
right. Okay, so Dr. Pai, maybe we should close it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's wrap it up. So thank you very much, all of you,
yeah.
for joining.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mhm.